not a mere administrative action. It is a strategic alignment designed to promote synergy between clinical service delivery, teaching, and research, to enhance institutional efficiency through harmonized leadership and resource management, to encourage interdisciplinary collaboration between medical professionals, researchers, and academics, and most importantly, to create a truly world-class teaching hospital that serves the needs of both Ghana and the wider West African sub-region. To guide this transition process, I've constituted a transitional management committee co-chaired by two distinguished Ghanaians, Professor Aaron Lawson, a seasoned academic and former provost of the College of Health Sciences of the University of Ghana, and Professor Mutaukilu Idrisu, a renowned Kolebu Teaching Hospital neurological specialist. They both bring a wealth of experience in institutional management, clinical practice, and academic leadership. The committee is tasked with the following responsibilities. 1, to conduct a comprehensive review of the legal mandates, operational structures, and academic frameworks of UGMC and the University of Ghana Medical School. 2, to develop integration guidelines to ensure coherence between UGMC's clinical mandates and the university's teaching and research mandates. 3, to design a practical roadmap with clear timelines and a communication plan to guide stakeholders through the transition process. 4, to facilitate all legal and administrative processes necessary for the seamless transfer and integration of UGMC into the University of Ghana. 5, to identify any potential challenges, particularly in funding, staffing, and resource allocation, and propose sustainable solutions. 6, to establish a transition secretariat to provide operational and logistical support during the transition period. 7, to review expressions of interest for partnership by international healthcare institutions. And 8, to submit a comprehensive report to the President of the Republic within 3 months from date of inauguration. This committee must work urgently and with a sense of historic responsibility. You are laying the foundation for a legacy of healthcare and medical education excellence. You are building a bridge between the past and the future, a future in which Ghana can serve as a hub for medical innovation, ethical practice, and world-class health outcomes. I envision a University of Ghana Medical Village becoming a center of gravity for global partnerships, regional referrals, and top-tier training. It will be a place where the best minds are trained and the best care is delivered, and also the best research is done, right here on Ghanaian soil, on African soil. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us embrace this moment as a turning point in our national development story. Let us work together to actualize this integration, not merely as a bureaucratic exercise, but as a nation-building endeavor. The Transitional Management Committee has the full support of government, the University of Ghana, and indeed the Ghanaian people. And so I urge all stakeholders to collaborate in good faith with transparency and commitment. May this initiative be a beacon of what is possible when leadership, vision, and institutional cooperation come together to pursue excellence. Let us build, let us reform, and let us deliver for Ghana's future. I thank you, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you. Since its interim formation in January 2025, the Ghana Gold Board has implemented aggressive reforms, especially in the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. By May alone, the Gold Board had exported 11 tons of gold, valued at USD 1.1 billion. Actually, it's in May alone, the Gold Board exported 11 tons of gold, valued at 1.1 billion US dollars. Cumulatively from January, exports from the small-scale sector reached 51.5 tons, which is valued at approximately $5 billion US. Can you
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
Good morning. This is Pan-African Television. We are live from our studios in Ablekuma. We are also live on social media. On Facebook, look for Pan-African Television. That's the page you should be looking for. On YouTube, look for Pan-African Television and get to watch us. Don't forget, you're an important part of this show. So your comment matter to us. Use the comment sections on Facebook and YouTube to share a thought or two with us. And also, you can send a text message or WhatsApp message to 0559 919-802, and we'll share it as we go along in the show. I am Sena, Nombo, and I welcome you to today's edition of the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. Here we say it is as it is, no matter what it's involving, and we hope to leave you better educated on the issues. Well, today at the front burner is a matter that's unavoidable: Ablekuma North. In fact, as at the close of polls, it was not clear who had won the Ablekuma North elections. There had been several collations and recollations, among others. Recently, after all the back and forth, the Electoral Commission decided that 19 polling stations should be rerun. The NDC says it should be 37. The MPP says that is inconsistent on the part of the Electoral Commission, because they had even sworn on oath in court and went to Parliament and said that what they needed was police protection to collect 3 outstanding polling station results. So they went to court in a bid to stop the rerun, which happened yesterday. Well, the court disagreed with them. The court said the EC should be allowed to do its job. And so the job they did. We'll be talking about the fallouts from the rerun yesterday, but I can tell you the outcome of the rerun and who holds that seat now. After the rerun, these are the results which I am sure you've seen. Nana Ekuya Oswefriye of the New Patriotic Party got 33,881 votes. Erabna Obing got 34,090 votes. Erabna Obing is a parliamentary candidate of the National Democratic Congress, meaning the NDC has annexed that seat also, and I've added it to their numbers. Well, I don't need to tell you, but everybody knows up next in line is the Akwetia seats, which of course there will be a discussion on. But we'll talk about the rerun of the 19 polling stations in Ablekuma North and matters arising as a result. Then we'll also spend some time and talk about the Gold Board. This week, they inaugurated a task force. Their job is simple: to look for, find, and bring to justice persons who breach the new Gold Board Act, especially 2 groups of people. Persons who, without the requisite license from the Gold Board, will be trading or dealing in gold in Ghana. Secondly, foreigners who will also be trading and dealing in gold in Ghana. Because under the new act, if you're a foreigner, you cannot trade or deal in gold in Ghana. You can only buy gold from the Gold Board. We'll be talking about that and what that will mean for us generally. Then we'll move on to the matter of the suspended Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokono, who has now taken her issue to the ECOWAS court. Many lawyers have pointed out that in order to qualify to even be heard at the ECOWAS court, you need to have exhausted all local mechanisms. As we speak, she is at least at the High Court. We'll conclude, if we have time, on the matter of the National Cathedral. I'm wondering the last time we heard about it. I thought there was no board. There's still a board in place, as we have been reminded this week. The National Cathedral Board came out strongly and are fighting off this very suggestion that the National Cathedral site should be used for a cultural center. That's a proposal that I disagree with anyway. Anyway, joining me in the studio this morning for the discussion, Alhaji Alhaji is a pioneer of the show. They have been there from the very beginning. The show was started by him and Alhaji Bature of blessed memory. He is former member of parliament for Sanyarugu. Alhaji, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Blessings to the good people of this country. I wish I could say there should have been a reward here before. I wish I pray that Almighty Allah, given the invaluable job you are doing, will find in His infinite mercy the grace to let you enjoy some of the reward before you get back to Him. I want to take the opportunity to salute Her Excellency. I've not seen her for a very long time. For the continuous commitment and dedication to our great party. My brother Ni, I've not seen him for a long time. He was my very good friend in Parliament when we were together in the last time in Parliament.
Yes.
I have a lot of respect for him, notwithstanding our political disagreements and others on the road. But he's a very decent, very dispassionate, I can say nationalistic person. When the interest of the nation comes, I can tell you that he can sometimes put his party this and that and say what it is. And I want to commend him.
I'm grateful
for this. I haven't seen him for some time.
Grateful.
And then, of course, the great viewers of Pan-Africa out there and the everlasting Bluchina people of the Sanargo constituency. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just introduce everybody. Anyway, let me continue. So the knee he was talking about is Nino Hansenote, who is a former member of parliament himself. And of course, sitting to my right is the former Ghana ambassador to the Czech Republic, Zita Saba Benson. And Mr. Philip Landing is a member of the Movement for Change. And we'll complete our panel today. Well, we can start off with the matter of Ablekuma North. And we'll start with Alhaji Alhaji on this. Alhaji.
Yeah, thank you very much. First and foremost, let me say all thanks and prayers to Allah Almighty for ensuring that the contest, the long-standing contest over the Ablekuma North seat was successfully concluded yesterday, notwithstanding some hiccups. But I can say that that matter has been comprehensively resolved. And after 6 months, where the people of Ablekuma North have been denied representation in Parliament unjustifiably, and I'll say unjustifiably because we did not need to get to where we have gotten to resolve this matter. The options and the opportunities were there from the onset. And so thanks to be to Allah for making it possible yesterday that at long last, like the legendary founder of this nation, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, the people of Ablekuma North are free. And they now have a very competent, dedicated representative who I will, without any delay again, hasten to congratulate. I think she's a fighter. From the very onset when she was declared, and some of us thought that it was illegal for the Electoral Commission to have done what they did. By the laws of this country, when the presiding officer makes a declaration at the polling station of who is the winner, no authority, there's no other authority clothed with the requisite laws and regulations or anything to set it aside except a competent court of jurisdiction. So that is why they say when the declaration has been made and you are dissatisfied, you go to court. Indeed, if you go back to the precedent, you remember here in this constituency, I also West Wogon we are sitting. You know, there was Rebecca Adote and what's she called, the MPP? How can my memory? Yes. Okay, that's true. So in that famous case, we dragged over that whole period. When the electoral officer made it, and the electoral commission sought to say that there was an error, they had to let that go for the challenge to be mounted in court. Because under Afarjan, it was realized that it is only once the electoral commission would then take responsibility to deal with their errant presiding officer. But as for the declaration, once it has been made, it has been made. But unfortunately, look at what happened here. So the confusion itself was started by the EC. When they simply should have just washed their hands off and thrown the matter into the ambit of the court. This particular thing they are talking about, errors in declaration, is for the court to determine. Isaac Amu, thank you very much. Yeah. God bless you.
But I think what I see is George Amu rather.
George Isaac Amu.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah,
okay.
I think George Isaac.
In fact, there's an Isaac, there's an Amu, so that's you can go with it. So Sena, I thought the electoral commission should have stayed any action on the matter and left it to the aggrieved party. The MPP was the aggrieved party. It was their duty and they knew what to do. They could have gone to court. And in the court, all these facts that we are talking about, which police station was collated, was not properly collated, and it's for the court to determine, not the electoral commission. So in interfering in that matter, the electoral commission unduly placed obstacles in the resolution of the matter. And two, the electoral commission itself should have also seen that the option, even in the event that they wanted to intervene, the option of going for a rerun, you yourself say you don't have pink sheets. You don't have the pink sheets. The parties themselves say for a number of polling stations, the pink sheets were not available. How were you going to declare the result? And it was stoically, very stubbornly insisting that it will never go. You remember even when Bosman appeared before Parliament, he was insisting that the issue of even going for a rerun was not even on the table at the time that he was talking about. When it was not even on the table, it was the table itself. From the very beginning, it was abundantly clear that when they had elected to interfere in the matter, their most potent option, and for me that was the only option, was to have gone for a rerun in the number of polling stations that they thought. Initially, 67 that was talked about. And then maybe or they used their own decision to prune it down to 19. But that option of a rerun was the only option I thought the Electoral Commission had to deal with the matter. But unfortunately, they muddied the waters themselves. See, when a landlord himself throws an object of confusion in the house, you should not expect the tenants to find a solution for him. So clearly, this was what the Electoral Commission did, and you remember even what happened in the case of SAL. The same porous arguments they did, and for 4 years, the people of SAL had no representation. So if there hadn't been pressure, we had done 6 months already when the people of Ablekuma North had no representation. It would have dragged, would have had another SAL on our hands with this incompetent and arrogant leadership at the Electoral Commission. And so no matter, that is why people just argue that on the sheer account of incompetence alone, the Electoral Commission, the current leaders of the Electoral Commission must go. We have said this long time ago, and people were trying to play politics with it. Even today, the MPP now, they are now shouting higher on the rooftops than even the NDC about how the Electoral Commission decision must go. So, for me, I think that there are very important lessons that as Ghanaians we should learn. But, Sena, I've been amazed in the run-up to this election. And it speaks volumes about the continuous decline and, if you are not careful, implosion within the New Patriotic Party. I have never seen anywhere in the politics of this universe, yes, where a national party with authority at the top level, the National Executive Committee of a party, gives a directive and bodies, subordinate organs under that body openly, and I'm emphasizing openly flouting the National Executive Committee and telling them to go to hell. There was a press conference, and this was not done in secrecy. It was done in the open, where the chief executive, the scribe of the party, goes and makes at a press conference a directive. He was not making an appeal. It was a directive that the New Patriotic Party as a party was not going to be part of the election. This is a definitive pronouncement at the highest echelons of the party, that the party has taken a decision. And when you say a party has taken a decision, it means all relevant organs and bodies of the party have to fall in line with that decision. So he makes the decision, and the next minute, what do we hear? The constituency, which is even below, far below, the constituency is below the national, is below the regional, and the constituency came out with an open statement to tell the national that they were speaking rubbish, and that their so-called decision was not going to be complied with. Sena, what does it tell you? That if you have a weak neck, it cannot carry a big head. Not so. That clearly, the party, in as far as decision making was concerned now, cannot guarantee that its decision at the national level can be implemented at the constituency level. So this is a party on the way out. Because the moment you are incapable of exercising your authority at the highest level of the party, that the party's highest decision-making body cannot have its decisions accepted and implemented by its members way down there. So now you are on your way out. So if the MPP thought that they had been stung by a scorpion, they should wait, the snake is coming. Because these are terrible signs for any political party to comprehend with. Initially, my perception of the whole thing was that the MPP was involved in theatrics, because I believe they could read the writing on the wall that Ablekuma by-election is a goner for them. The writing was on the wall that they were going to lose. And so in order not to further demoralize their supporters, who are already so downcast by this unprecedented, humiliating defeat they suffered in the 2024 elections, they obviously thought that they should play some games, Mr. London, so that if the leadership says that, look, we are not going for the election, even if you go and you lose, the party will say, look, we have already indicated earlier that we were not part of the election, so we didn't even participate in the election, so it's a non-starter. So I obviously thought that was the strategy the party was employing, so that in the event of a defeat, they will find an escape route to say that, oh, we didn't even participate in the election in the first place, so why do you think that you should be taking responsibility for the defeat? But now the fight is on. And I've heard there was even some calling for the head of the leadership of the top leadership of the party, that the current national executive, all of them must resign, they must go. And so I was even trying to find out from my brother why they did not even go from the normal grassroots approach, because I am amazed that you want to build a house and you start erecting the roof before you have done the foundation. No, I'm saying that if you part of your thing is to ensure that you have to build and to build, because the catastrophic performance of the MPP in the 2024 elections means that you have to undertake drastic reforms. And when you are assailed by such a level of monumental disaster, your resort is not to tinker and do timid reforms. You have to go bold and do what is right and proper. So if you go and erect your superstructure and the foundation is weak, what is going to support the superstructure? Is the foundation that supports a superstructure. So if your foundation is weak and you erect a very powerful superstructure, it will rather even speedily help the collapse. And so on this particular election, if you look at it, even when I was not, I just visited the place just briefly and went, but I have been told that your national treasurer was present at the election, and even superintendent, he was even a police station agent in one of the 19 police stations, and more or less took charge of the operations because he happened to be the most senior national officer. So was he not representing the national executive? So if he was representing the national executive, where is the argument that the MPP at the national level boycotted the elections? So you see the confused state in which the MPP is today. And like I said, this one there is the scorpion. The snake is coming. When they move towards trying to, as it were, erect the structure of the elections for the flag bearer of the party. But Sena, beyond that, I want to, without any iota of hesitation, condemn all and any act of violence that was perpetrated in the course of the election. Elections in our country should have no place whatsoever for any iota of violence. And so for anybody who was complicit in any act of violence, I believe the law must take its course. I believe that it should be possible to do whatever to see any act of violence being clamped down heavily. And I want to appeal to the IGP and others to take steps, because we have Akotia coming. And my condolence once again. I've rendered it yesterday to the late member of Parliament for Akotia. We should send an unmistakable message out there that not an iota of violence will be accepted, no matter where it is coming from. No matter where it is coming from. Sena, we must send that unmistakable message out there that whoever intends to perpetrate violence, and I heard sometimes after this election some rantings from some fringe elements threatening that they are going to let mayhem reign in Akotia. Some vengeful acts are going to come and others. I believe that the IGC should take judicious notice, first and foremost, of those issuing those threats. Anybody who issues a threat is engaging in criminal conduct. So those who issue those threats must be arrested. And that would even before we get to Akotia. And if the police even chance on people making preparations to unleash violence, they have a bounden duty to arrest those people and bring them to book. So, Sena, I think that that element was a single blot that occurred yesterday. It did not undermine the integrity of the elections. Let me say that without any iota of doubt. Because, one, it occurred in just one polling station. And even after that one, calm was restored and voting continued. But I want to also say that for those of us who are political actors, you don't plant maize and expect to harvest cassava. If you are a progeny, you are somebody who is prone to violence, and you are in the habit of, as it were, surrounding yourself with violent elements and encouraging people to be violent, you will get consumed by that violence. So I want to issue a clarion call. I don't want to mention names, but I think that Ghanaians all know that those who are in an environment where violence is fertile, that if you think that you can unleash violence on your opponents, and that is a fact of life, and that is karma. If you think that you can unleash violence on your opponents, be mindful that your opponents at another time can also unleash violence on you. So it's better you don't get caught in those things. And if you're already in it, you must withdraw from that fast and comply with the law, so that the law can have equal protection for all citizens, so that all of us can behave in a very sane and sanitized manner, so that elections can go on without violence. But if you think you can use violence as a tool, as a political tool to stay in office, I think where we have reached in our democracy, that mentality doesn't wash. Because the good people of this country now are awake and alive to their responsibilities of making sure that they only elect people who can protect and promote their interests. And so those minded by the resort to political violence as a tool for getting power should get to know that this country has moved on. And so I want to urge the IGP, who is actually in charge of security. In our elections now, the military does not come in until maybe the police find out that they no longer can contain the situation. And so it rests squarely on the hands of the IGP. I think so far the IGP, on assumption of office, has done a good job in many areas, from galamsey to armed robbery. I'm sure a number of prodigals have come out praising him. And so in these our elections, what happened in that police station yesterday, unfortunate that it must never happen again. And for me, it's an eye-opener. You should take steps to ensure that as we prepare for the Akwetia by-election, this one was just some few police stations. Akwetia is going to be a whole constituency. The entire constituency is going to open up for not even just election, but campaigns. And so those who are minded to unleash violence would want to target innocent people in that thing. I think the police must deploy massively from now onwards. I believe that the IGP should be working on it. They say that if a goat should bite the intruder, it's a shame of the dog. The IGP should know what contingency plans he's putting in place as we speak now. I'm not the one to sit here with my ignorance in security matters to tell him what to do, but I know. But now they're making contingency plans to make sure that no such thing as has happened and over in our elections. And then I also want to take the opportunity to also tell all of us that violence should not have political color. Because today, I have heard people who are shouting the loudest from the rooftops, as if what happened yesterday was the single biggest violence ever in the history of our country. When not too long ago, Ayawaso West Wogon, this same constituency happened, and people were killed. There are people who are still nursing injuries as we speak. My deputy in the last parliament on the communications committee, deputy ranking member, Honorable Sam George, who is now the substantive minister for communications, was not only assaulted, in fact his life was on the line. Those who saw what is his name, Double, or what did they used to call him, and others did to him. Somebody even cocked a gun and threatened him. They were going to shoot him. We saw all these things. People who are shouting loudest today kept mute. In fact, some of them even came and endorsed what happened. What did Sam George want there? What was he doing at that venue? When it was an election and he was an interested member because he's a leading member of the party. So you see, these are the things. We should have the pedigree to speak out when bad things are done that have incalculable damage on our democracy, irrespective of our party leaders. And so if we adopt that approach and all of us stand together, I'm sure that is a panacea for curing our political landscape of any acts of violence. And so I want to say that taking this in totality, we should be looking forward to a more sanitized Akwetia by-election. And even, I'm not sure Akwetia will be the last. God forbid, nobody is advocating for anybody to go somewhere. But it is an unavoidable necessity in our politics. So, Sena, all in all, I'm sure that kudos, I want to salute all the branch organizers of the police stations yesterday. I think out of the 19, the NDC won about 12. 11 or 12 of the polling stations. This is in the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party. I think that they worked so hard to snatch the seat. Since 1992, when the MPP boycotted the elections, and for the first one was won without any serious competition, the NDC, we have never won that election. 2024 is the historic year for us, where bastions of the MPP fell like a pack of cats. And by the grace of Allah Almighty, like I said, this is a snake, a scorpion. The snake is coming in 2028. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Of course, we are discussing the rerun of the 19 polling station in Ablekuma North. Let me go to Ni. Yes.
Thank you, Sena, and good morning to our viewers and listeners as well, and to our cherished panelists here. In fact, Alhaji has said it. He said it all. He's taking the wind out of our sail. But what is an election? It is a process to choose. That's all it is. It's a process to choose. Beyond that, the counting and all the things we do, it's just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if there are 1,000 people, can't we count 1,000 people and go home? It's taken us 6 months to count. The people that voted yesterday were not even more than 20,000, 10,000, maybe 5,000. 6,000. We couldn't count for 6 months. That's the job of the EC. To administer us to go and choose and count who we have chosen. That's it. Nothing more than that. It's not complicated. I've been an election observer before in different jurisdictions. Guinea-Bissau, Togo, when I was a student politician, and I ended up in those places. So that is the whole process. That is all we're supposed to do on the 7th of December, 2024. Jimensa and his team, with all the resources we gave them, IGP, the police, Interior Minister, everybody. Him and I have been to elections before. There's nothing extraordinary about that. But in Ablekuma North and many other constituencies, and in fact all over Ghana, just going to exercise your right and counting counting the vote at the end of the day can spell you doom. It can be the end of your life. You can go there and be beaten and you can never come back home. You can go there and come back maimed. I've been to elections. I've seen elections in the UK. People go and they chat, they drink tea and go home. At the end of the day, they see the results and that's the end of it. And I've seen elections in Bangladesh where they are throwing bombs. People must go with armies. People must create armies, buy arms, train them just to police their own ballots. Is that where we want to get to? Yesterday, for me, I think, it was not the worst of violent episodes that we've seen, but it was just not necessary. The people who organized the young men to go and misbehave must be picked up, must be looked for and picked up. And these things start small. You say a storm brews in a teacup. It starts very small. You might think it would not end up anywhere. Some of the people that have been assaulted yesterday or assaulted maybe 8 years ago have retaliated yesterday. Some people may be preparing today to retaliate in the next 8 years. And I said with my uncle what he said, that the IGP should be proactive. Yesterday we all saw what the police were doing. They were like unarmed and spectators. If you watch the videos, the police were at the gate. No authority. In fact, you don't need arms to have authority. Your uniform alone should give you authority. When you go to England and you see a policeman in his white uniform, he's holding a button, a stick, no gun. But when he says come, you go. You come to him. Says go, you go. So you don't need arms. You have the authority of the state to protect every citizen and every property. That is why we pay you at the end of the month. That is why when you go to Parliament with your budgets, we look for money for you. When you come with your emergency budgets, we sacrifice other things and make sure that you have your resources to go and work. Yesterday, I didn't see the police in action in that particular polling station. Because when I review the videos, you can tell that, I don't know whether they were not given instructions or they didn't see it coming. They have intelligence officers. There are BNI officers in every district who could have picked up these signals, and I'm sure they picked up the signals, but maybe no actions were taken on them. In fact, yesterday, I didn't go to Ablekuma. I didn't go there at all. My reason for not going there, people called me. I was following everything, but I said, no, I'm not going there because the party gave a directive. There was a clear instruction that we are not participating in the election. And I didn't know whose instructions to take, whether the party's instruction or the candidate's instruction. Yes, as a candidate, you would have spent resources. You'd have spent resources over time. Look, elections are not cheap. Ask my uncle. We sell our properties to run the elections. Maybe her little savings that she has made, she's paid everything into the elections. Zita has been to elections before, she knows. The billboards that we do is like marketing a whole new product. It's not cheap. Anybody who tells you elections in Ghana is cheap and it's not being truthful to you. Any constituency, even rural constituencies today, you not spend less than $300,000, $400,000. Not cedis, dollars. Convert it into cedis, about 4 million cedis or 5 million cedis. Pay caps, all that. So she spent resources. D-Day operational money and food alone, it's not a joke. Security. But you know, where's the means? From my own experience, it's like paying to buy poverty. Anna, it's true. You get there and you realize that unless you are prepared, you want to go and steal from the state, you will go back home angry. Everybody's broke. Everybody on the corridors of parliament is always broke. We are just asking. We sit and chat and drink tea and chat and then we go home. We are broke. But we do it out of love, out of sacrifice, because we want to help participate in the decision-making process and make a difference in the lives of our people. That's why we do it. So, yesterday, when I saw the young men doing what they were doing, I was laughing. I was like, you are buying poverty for this woman, but you don't know. Anyway, but the reality is that we have set a very bad precedent. That's my view. You know, because if on 7th December, by 5 p.m., the elections were over. By 9 p.m., everybody knew who has won and who had lost. Everybody. You, the candidate, you know. Because you have all your pink sheets by that time. So you go and sit at home and you know. Ekwefiri and Obing all knew who had won and who had lost. Why do you take the government and the people of Ghana through all this mess for 6 months? And the disgrace that it has brought to the people of Ghana. Because all this is on social media, all over the world. I know people, friends of mine who are, you know, because we are friends, they know I've been to parliament before, they like Ghana. Anything about Ghana, they know. People subscribe to Ghana Web and all these platforms. Because they know some of us, we are friends. And it's also all out there. Even today, with the advent of the booming gold price, everybody's attention is on Ghana. Then you turn on your TV, you turn on your radio, you're watching CNN or you're online, and then it pops up. Violence here, violence there. It kills industry, it kills investments, it kills opportunities. And that is what has transpired. So yesterday I said, in fact I was sad, and I said it set a very bad precedence, because that violence that occurred yesterday, and I'm dwelling on the violence because it is becoming a theme in every by-election. Previous Akwetia by-elections, there was violence. Awaya also West we won, there was violence. It's as if when there's a by-election, it's a recipe to show your power, or it's a time to show your power. So you come in there and misbehave. The IGP has a duty. Everything is on TV. You can tell the people by their faces. We have bought them, we have bought the police CCTV cameras to cover the whole Ghana. There was a project for that. It's everywhere. Yeah. So he can trace them. He knows where to find them. His intelligence men are on the ground. He knows where to go and get them. He should make examples of them. There was even a policeman slapping a journalist. Yeah. 21st century. After all the education, we have reformed the police from a force to a service. Why? Absolutely. So, but I was happy that the minister quickly got the police to issue a statement on that, and they said that it's been interdicted, which I was pleased with, you know. But we want to see where it ends. It's not that he's been interdicted and that's the end of the story. No, we want to see where it ends. We really need to get this thing right. Both political parties cannot deny the fact that they have vigilante groups, even though the law bars it. Both political parties have them. When you shoot you, you want to work with them. I remember 2024 election, when there was a little bit of violence in Tema Central, and they went to the Tema Regional Police Office. When the violence was escalating, the commander called me. He says, they say the people are your boys. I said, which boys? I said, the boys who are chasing MPP people. I said, how can the people? When you go there, it's the same Tema Central youth who felt aggrieved at the party, and decided that, no, this time we are not going to support the party, so we are going to police the ballot box against our own people. That's what they did. The same people, they were not strangers. Our own friends, we know all of them. The boys in Ashama and the boys in Tema Central, we work together, we play together. So we know each other. When he called me from the national headquarters, I said, I can't go there. If you, the police, cannot protect yourself, how can I go there to talk to them? But obviously, as a political leader, they knew that I can speak to them and speak to their leadership and get them to calm down. So we did that, and then we closed the chapter. So we all know them. As and when they shoot us, we work with them. But I think it's getting out of hand. It's really getting out of hand. After 30 years of this democratic experience, people must understand that it is just exercising your right. This idea of violence begets violence, no. We should nip it in the bud as quickly as possible, because we are not heading towards the right direction. It might be small, it might be micro, it might be in one constituency, but it's dangerous, especially when the people are bold enough to attack national leaders, elected leaders of a political party. And I don't want to, blame just what happened yesterday. It's happened in the past, like he alluded to. It's happened in the past. We saw the reports that came from the committee that was set up. But there's a big difference between many of the incidents that are taking place and how they were handled, and how, under President Akufo-Addo, he handled Ayawa Sugo in 2018 or 2019. A commission was set up, and a process took place that eventually culminated in us delegitimizing all vigilante groups, which is what I expect some of these post this event or post these violence acts. Some of these things a commission can be set up for us to investigate and see why the police were powerless. Was it wrong for us to take the arms from them on election day, as we did in the last CI, or we should allow them to carry or bear arms on election day? Maybe that serves as a deterrent. So going forward, it means we have to also deepen education, public education, both for political parties and political actors and the police and security services. I remember I went to an election observation in Guinea-Bissau in 2005, and the political agents were eating together, eating in the same bowl at lunch. They were eating together. When they started counting, all of a sudden there was a hail of bullets from the same people. Everybody went to pick up AK-47 and they were fighting. And then they had to, I found my way out of that country. They took me to Senegal and I go back to Ghana. So it gets to a point where some of these people are acting in the interest of others and not even their own interest. They don't even know what they are doing there. Some of the vigilante boys that were misbehaving yesterday were saying, some of the interviews that I've seen on social media, one of the guys was saying that, oh, Yasemin Bono, I was told to beat her, so I just did it. Really? Is that what you have been reduced to? But going forward, the training and education must be deepened. Must be deepened. And scapegoats must be made out of some of these people, for people to know that it is not right and proper to use violence during elections. To add a few, Akwetia is just around the corner. Akwetia itself has had its own history of violent by-elections in the past. I'm praying and hoping that this time the police will be prepared well. They will have their intelligence on the ground. We have 6 weeks or 8 weeks to that by-election. At least the next 3 weeks, they should be there. Pick up information, pick up the intelligence, start picking up people. There are some people that you know that when they get into the vicinity, they will cause trouble. Don't let them even get there. find ways and means of keeping them at home or keeping them in your custody for their own safety, so that we'll go to the elections and come back peacefully. Because Akwete is a hotbed. That whole area has a lot of young men, both legal minors and a lot of illegal minors. Young men there. There's a lot of politics that is going on today. People were promised that they'll be allowed to mine there and no longer being allowed because they supported the party, or they didn't support the party, or they were mining before and there's a new government. There's a whole power play in that whole region. And in fact, in all the gold mining regions, Western region as well. But Akwete is the one that is next. And therefore, we must, as quickly as possible, gather enough intelligence on the ground and prepare to make sure that we safeguard the peace of the area and also the peace of Ghana. Lastly, I would also blame the EC for its indecision. In fact, the indecision doesn't even end just with the EC. It also ends with my own party, the leadership of our party. That the party must be strong and firm in its decision making. You take a decision at the neck level, and then a candidate decides to go in. There are two things. It's either we were not prepared for the elections, or maybe it was a strategy that I'm not aware of. Or maybe it was to, stagger the fall. Because I didn't understand. A whole party takes a decision at the national level, and then national officers who are supposed to enforce the decision are in fact flouting the rules, flouting the decision. Are on the ground campaigning. I saw my national organizer there. I saw my national general secretary there. I saw all of them. And I saw former members of parliament who were also there, and members of parliament who were also there. I thought it was a flout. I mean, it was not necessary. If we knew that we were not prepared to participate, you let your people. Because today, if you issue another directive, it will be difficult for others to follow. Issue another directive that, we shouldn't do A, B, C, D. Why will people take you seriously? So the party must examine itself. For obviously, I'm a member. So we must examine ourselves and strengthen the party to make sure that decisions that are made are abided by. We saw political apparatchiks who want to vie for presidential slots now doing donations. Donations that could have been done to the party. You do the donations to the party, and then the party now goes to execute it in your name. Now people want to be seen to be there. In fact, all those who flouted the law should be disqualified. Yes. Why? They should be disqualified. The national officers will come asking them questions on this matter. We'll ask them questions. Because if you make the rules and you break the rules, then how do you make the rules for me? Or those below me? Sometimes you make the rules and it's not palatable. Yes, we all don't agree. That is when you even have to stand by the rule. Ask him, when we take caucus decisions, some of the caucus decisions, they're not happy. We fight in the room. We argue. Heated ones on their side, on our side. But once the decision is taken, that's it. Whether you like, so when you see us going to do the press conference, those who supported the matter are the ones who go and stand with the person making the press conference. Those of us who didn't support the matter, we stand aside and watch. Isn't that what we do? Yes, because you are not part of the you didn't support the decision. So those who support, the leader will call you, and then you have to go and stand there and participate. That is how it is. Anyway, Sena, I'll end here so that my siblings, my big sister and my uncle will have the opportunity to also make some presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, as an auntie, member of Parliament for Tema Central. It was one of the places that it took some time to even declare.
Yes.
So it was one of the contentious.
We have some in court.
Yes.
We have some in court. But we'll get there. Whatever happens. Tema Central there is MPP.
In fact, one of the things people forget is that NSC Okumi, who was just passed on, captured the attention of the Ghanaian public because of the elections in his constituency. So much so that his name is easily recallable because everyone in the media remembers NSC Okumi that was supposed to have been arrested and everything that happened on the night.
When he had won everything, then God calls him. But
well, quite interesting. Our condolences to the family anyway, and also the MPP party and everybody in the constituency. Ambassador.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here with my brothers here. Mr. Landon and I used to do GTV way back.
Yes.
2008.
Yes.
And I haven't seen you in a while. So I'm happy to see you. My brother Alhaji. I'm learning a lot of
Excellency.
When the scorpion bites, you get ready for the snake. And then my brother me, it was nice listening to you.
I'm grateful.
So, well, first of all, I would start by condemning the violence that occurred yesterday. And, you know, it's scary because this didn't start yesterday. Violence is creeping slowly into our electoral system. And we have to find a way to curb it. Otherwise, you know, going into 2028 is going to get worse. We didn't get here yesterday, like I said. And I condemn all forms of violence that occurred, except one. Except the one on Hawa Kumsi. Oh, yes, she deserved it. Because she is known for it. She has been unleashing violence on people. In July, during the registration, she shot at people. It's there, you can Google it. She took a gun. That one was not even an election. Minister of State, who should lead by example, a woman, who should have, you know, empathy for people. When she's going into an electoral area, she carries a gun, weapons on her. The men who follow her are known. That is why she got the nickname Kaswa Rambo. So somebody who is known for that gets into the area, and I have seen the video. She started attacking. She should know better. As a former Minister of State, your responsibilities is higher than the macho man down there. So the honors of duty and care that as a former Minister of State you owe to the state is higher than, you know, somebody who just goes to the gym, builds muscles and comes to fight at elections. She should know better. The video I saw was of her spraying pepper spray into the crowd. So obviously some of that pepper spray touched the man who dived and jumped her. I'm sure that the man was standing somewhere minding his own business and then felt the burning sensation and just jumped on her. So it should be a lesson to all of us. And I pray that she learns a lesson from what she did yesterday. To going into another election, not to go there armed with pepper sprays, knives and guns and so on and so forth. She should lead by example. So I condemn the attack on the media men, the policeman who slapped. I saw the video. It was in bad taste. He needs to be punished. The fact that you are wearing a uniform doesn't give you the right to, you know, take the law into your hands and beat up people. It is wrong. It is wrong. And I have been a victim of electoral violence before. In 2008, I ran at Domi Kwabinya. I went to the Taifa market. I was with Adekoka. May his soul rest in peace. I was with E.T. Mensah. May his soul rest in peace. They ran and left me. Adekoka's E.T. Mensah's bodyguard got his head smashed. I didn't run. I stood. But I didn't run because you know, the people were throwing stones. No, they were not even tags. They immediately saw us. And, you know, when I ran in Domi Kwabinya, what they told me was that it was a no-go area for NDC. because it is an MPP stronghold. So when I got there, they said, oh, the NDC people are here. And then they started throwing stones. So, and the men that I went with, they all left me and I stood. So later on, it was the police who, I didn't have anything on me. I didn't have pepper spray, you know, because at the time, I thought that it was just a mere election. I didn't think it was going to be a war zone. So they took, they ran away and they went to the Atomic Police Station. I stood and the police, about 6 armed men, came and put me in the middle and they took me away. I'm sure Metro TV or GTV or TV3 would have that clip because they took it, you know. So I was lucky to have escaped. I was also a victim of electoral violence recently in the 2024 election at Nsawam Edwajiri. I was a coalition agent at Nsawam Edwajiri. So as the counting was going on, you know, one party realized that they were losing, and they sent tags, led by the MP. They sent tags to the coalition center. It was a secondary school, and you know, I was in the coalition center when the tags started shaking the door, metal doors. They broke the metal doors down, and even as they were trying to break the metal doors down, it was a mob action. They were throwing stones, so you could hear the stones rolling on the ceiling. The roofing, boop, 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 and, you know, one stone hits your head, you are gone, brain injury, you are dead. And then all of a sudden, I saw armed men shooting into the coalition center. And I didn't know, I had to run. I was with my friends, you know, we ran. But in the midst of running, I had in mind that, you know, any bullets, stray bullets could hit you. So this happened on the night of the election, December 8th in the morning, around 4 a.m. From there, I sat in my car, I got back to Accra around 7 a.m. So any form of electoral violence is bad. And we shouldn't encourage it, let alone from a former minister. Okay, and at the time that Hawa Kunsin was shooting guns, she was a minister of state, she was a minister of fisheries, and she was shooting guns at a registration center. And her excuse was that she did it to protect herself. Why did she even take a gun to a registration center in the first place? Her government was in power. Nothing happened to her. She walked away scot-free. Yesterday she appeared and she had pepper spray on her, started spraying people. And of course, if you spray me, because it burns, it's very, very painful. So obviously the person felt it and dived at her. So she deserved what she got. But going forward, we have to find a way, and I'm not even going to go to the recommendation yet. In 2020, 8 people lost their lives during the election. 8 people. Like my brother Nee said, it says we are just going to count. Why do we have to lose lives? The 8 people, one included a 13-year-old at Ododo Dio. What did she do? She's not even ready. She's not even a voter. She's not even 18. But like I said, stray bullet. Stray bullet. So we have to find a way to ensure that if we are going to vote, we don't become like an animal kingdom or a jungle where, you know, and before the election started, I saw videos of MPP, one of your vice chairmen and some of the big men, they were there saying that, oh, we are ready for NDC. We have seen, we are ready. If they bring it, we are ready. You can't go into an election thinking that you are going to fight. It's an election for a reason. You are going to vote. You are not going to fight. So if you go there with the mindset that you are going to fight, you have to prepare yourself to fight. If we want to fight, then we'll go and join South Sudan, or let's move to Sudan or somewhere and start fighting. But if as leaders you come and then you are recorded on video saying that we are ready to fight, look, we can all protect ourselves. If you bring it on, we'll meet you. So as leaders, we shouldn't incite our people. Get there and grant interviews and say that we are here. We are here. If NDC, we know that they are ready. You see, and NPP has copied. They've gone to form a blue army. Our concept of the green army is not to fight. It's a youth group that was set up to galvanize for campaign. The youth go down there and campaign, but because of the word army, they feel that it's something to know. The Green Army, I attended the youth launch and everything. I was part of it. It is not a two men to fight. But they sent the Blue Army in the morning that the Blue Army is there. Nobody is fighting. Only 19 polling stations. And look at what happened yesterday. It was shameful. It was, and I'm sure that if our Kumsi wasn't there, wouldn't have gotten to that extent. She's known for violence. Wherever she goes, she takes it along. So she took it there. People were ready for her. Because they knew that once she comes, she has a gun on her. Even during 2024 election, her men shot one person dead. And I'm calling on the president to have that election violence that led to one person dying at Kaswa investigated. It needs to be investigated. She can't walk, she can't continue to shed blood during registration and during election and walk away scot-free. She can't do that. She's not above the law in this country. She's not. But how did we get here? The Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission brought us here. On December 7th, 2024, Erabna Obin was declared winner. The next day, Jean Mensah came and annulled that declaration. So they brought us here. So when I hear the NPP saying that, oh, we are getting injustice from NDC because they are in power and they are trying to twist our arms and get the Ablekuma North seat from us, I laugh. You were in power on December 7th, 2024 when Erabna was declared, her hands were twisted and the seat was taken away from her. So who suffered injustice? You were in power. You used your power and your influence over the Electoral Commission to take away the seat from Erabna. Erabna has been the one fighting for this seat for the past 7 months. So you cannot come and cry foul when something you created has come back to bite you. I'm sure my brother will have a proverb for that. You create the problem. The problem comes to bite you, and then you cry injustice. That is most unfortunate. And then go around saying that I'm a poor widow. I'm a poor widow. Widow doesn't qualify you. I mean, one of the qualifications for going into parliament, it doesn't say you have to be a widow to go there. You know, there are qualifications for it. It doesn't matter who you are. Once you qualify, and we don't care. We don't care your personal situation. You know, once you qualify, you can do the work, and the people vote for you. You go. So the EC brought us to this situation, and it was not just. Don't forget, it was not just Ablekuma North. We had Domi Kwabenya. In Domi Kwabenya, the candidate, the MPP candidate, Michael Kwe Jr., actually conceded. He conceded defeat to our NDC candidate. And then the Electoral Commission turns around, comes back, and says that, oh no, we think that you won. When the man who went for the election, the returning officer had declared the NDC candidate winner. The man who won had agreed that I have, the man who lost had agreed that I have lost. The EC says, no, we want more, we are taking it back. So the EC is the problem. Whoever was controlling the EC at the time did not do the EC any good. They came back. Tema Central, your constituency, is part of it. They are in court. Okankwe Central is part of it. Akwetia is part of it. I was in Artisanal Police Station when Akwetia was declared in the absence of NDC. Our executives were on their way coming from Akwetia when we called them and told them, don't bother. They have already declared the MPP winner of the election. So go back. Which was very, very unfair. At least give the other party the opportunity to get there, do the recount, and then let them know that this is their situation. But that's what the EC did. I was there. And I was there because in Sanwam, I was representing in Sanwam Artisanal Police Station. In Sanwam did not have pink sheets. Just as Ablekuma North did not have pink sheets. The EC did not have pink sheets. And pink sheet determines who the winner is. We were calling for a rerun. The EC said no. They went to court. The court finally managed to get a court order and declared someone for MPP. When there were clearly no pink sheets for both parties. So what we were doing was that the pink sheets that NDC had, we would bring, the pink sheets that MPP had, they would bring, and then when we both agree. So we got to a stage where one of the pink sheets did not tally, pink sheets that EC brought did not tally with both NDC and MPP, and then there was a stalemate, and that's when they took it to the court, and the court granted it for MPP. So, in fact, the problem from 2020 election, where people were killed, 8 people died, and I will call on the president once again to build a monument for the 8 people who lost their lives during the 2020 elections in front of the Electoral Commission office, the headquarters, to remind us not to ever go into an election and lose lives. A monument must be erected for those 8 people as a reminder that election is not about fighting, but is about just, you know, exchange of minds and where you belong, and so on and so forth. That needs to be done. So that the EC, every time they walk around their office, they will know that the lives of these people are on their hands. So the EC has a big problem that they are big disappointments from head to toe. All the 6 directors, they must go. They must go. When we were complaining about the EC, the MPP became their spokespersons. They were defending them. Just before we went into the election, we complained about names, some names that had been moved from polling stations, people who had registered for example, in Pan-African TV. When they go, their name is not there. They didn't even know where their names had been. Yes. When we complained about it, the MPP were defending, they were the spokespersons of the EC. Today, the MPP says the EC must go. Why the U-turn? I mean, just stay and taste what you created. Don't let them go. But for once, both MPP and NDC agree that the Jean Mensah-led administration, all the directors must go, because I personally don't trust them. And if you are in charge, you're supposed to be neutral, you're supposed to be independent, and you are not trusted, then what are you doing there? Jean Mensah has proved herself twice that she can't be trusted. During the 2020 declaration of the election results, she found a way to get our agents out of the collation center, changed the venue where the declaration was going to be made, and once our agents left, they went to another venue and hurriedly declared the 2020 elections. And what happened after that? She came back about 4 times and changed, said that she had made mistakes. How do you make mistakes in an election? And she only admitted that she had made mistakes because when she put out the figures, the percentages did not jive. And people started calculating. We have people who know math. They said, no, if you said this is the figures that you got, then your percentages are wrong. It's not adding up. In math, 1 + 1 is 2. You can't do anything about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So she came back, changed the results about 2 or 3 or 4 times, and then finally left it like that. So Jean Mensah has proven herself, and I think that I thought that she would even resign, but she's still there, which is fine. You know, but if she won't listen to the parties and she won't do what the parties want, because parties are telling you this is not how it's supposed to go, and you've adopted an obia attitude. You do what you want. You are not there per your own authority. You are being paid with the taxpayers' money. And if you conduct an election and create such a mess, my brother talked about Saul. The same thing, 4 years Saul did not have representation. Jean Mensah sat in the office, never did anything about it, left the people of Saul without an MP. Jean Mensah sat there, she did nothing about it. She did nothing about it. That her job was to ensure that an election, even if it did not happen during the December 2020 election era, it should have happened during the year. It didn't happen. For 7 months, because of their own mistakes that they did, I won't call it mistakes, deliberate attempts to take away seats that belong to NDC to give to the MPP. For 7 months, Ablekuma North did not have representation in Parliament. And I will use this opportunity to congratulate my sister, Rabna Orbin, for a good fight that she did not give up along the way, because it is not easy to run to be an MP. It is not easy at all. Your money, your mental health, everything, your physical, everything. Because if you are running against someone like Hawa Kumsin, then you know your life is even in danger. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not easy. So Rabna, congratulations. You fought well, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And so I feel that going forward, I don't want us to take this kind of violence into 2028, because I have, like I said, I've been a victim twice. You never know third time what will happen. So I pray that we find solution to this kind of violence that has creeped into our electoral system, and make people accountable. If a national officer of any political party, me included, if I'm found making inflammatory statements and telling my people to go and fight, I incited it. Don't just arrest the macho people who do it. The person who incited that violence must also be arrested. It doesn't matter which party the person belongs to. So we have to look at reforms for our electoral system and punish people who engage in this. If we do that, people will know that, look, I can't go and incite and get away with it. You know, so such reforms must be made. The Electoral Commission is not above the law. If the EC makes a mistake, in Ghana, we don't punish people for making mistakes in the course of their duty. In other jurisdictions, they do. So if you are an electoral officer and you do something wrong, which leads to this kind of embarrassment and pain and struggle, leading to violence yesterday, whoever was in charge yesterday would have been made to resign for causing this mess. So we have to look at reforms where the officers of the Electoral Commission would also be held liable in the course of their duty. Their duty is not just to go and sit down and count and do all that. They are supposed to ensure that there's free and fair election and violence-free election, because the violence starts when people begin to feel that they are being cheated. That's when the violence starts. And I'll give you a typical example. When I was posted to Insamam, you know, I did rounds of the polling station, and I was called that one how do you call the women, the people who do I've forgotten the name, those who give out the electoral officer, one female electoral officer had been arrested. What did she do? I think from the tally that she was seeing, she realized that MPP was losing. So what she did was she took some of the papers, the ballot papers, and she was going to give it out to people because you know, people didn't turn up for MPP. The people didn't turn up for MPP. So they told her to take some of the papers and then put it in the box. Our boys were very vigilant. They were there, they were watching, and they caught her putting the paper in her sleeve. And when they caught her, so she pretended she was going to the bathroom, and she was about to put it in the box, and they pounced on her. When they pounced on her, do you know what she did with the paper? She swallowed the paper. She swallowed the paper. So they took her to the police station. I even posted her picture on my Facebook wall. This is a woman who is part of the electoral process. She was employed by the Electoral Commission to engage in a free and fair election. But she is the one who is taking out ballot papers and going to put in the ballot box. So such people must be punished. Yes. So we need to hold such people responsible. So you know, the mistrust of the Electoral Commission is very. We need a whole system. We need a whole system. We have to look at the laws, to look at punishment for electoral officers who flout the law. They can't just flout the law and destroy our electoral system and get away with it. We have to also look at political actors who incite people to go and engage in violence. We don't want to leave this kind of legacy for the next generation. It is in very bad taste. Okay. So going forward, that is what I would say.
Okay, thank you very much. She condemns all violence except the one against her Kumsin. That's quite an interesting position to take. Anyway, Musa Abatua says, Sena, the violence that characterized some polling stations in Ablekuma North is condemnable, and the MPP does not have the moral right to criticize having failed to condemn the chaos during the Ayawaso by-election. Our Kumsin must be blamed for provoking the tension with her aggressive remarks, seemingly trying to revive a Rambo woman style. But ultimately, she failed. Thank you, Musa Abatua. This is Habib, who says, let me congratulate the great NDC for the victory of yesterday, 19 polling stations at Ablekuma North and the absolute majority in parliament. And I condemn yesterday's violence, but in this world, violence begets violence. Years ago, we all saw what happened at Ayawaso West Wagon, so the MPP has no right to jump on the moral high grounds to condemn any violence in our beloved country. No woman should pass through what our Rambo Kumsun went through yesterday. But Auntie Rambo has a history of using guns, so we were lucky she wasn't holding a gun. But pepper spray. But even pepper spray is a dangerous weapon. Let's condemn all forms of violence because violence begets violence. That's Habib in Italy. Thank you very much. And there's Hadi in Pickfarm. There's the MPP should just keep quiet. The government of President John Dramani Mahama is still thinking of how to fix the mess the Nanado Baumia left behind. What happened yesterday wasn't a coincidence, but it was the cause of injustice from the previous events in our politics. It is either we work it out now or it continues. I don't know for how long. Afeni Makins and his group should just shut up. As for Madam Hawa Kumsing, she is the cause of her own problem. A native doctor who calls for the rain to come should not be afraid of thunder and the strike that will follow. Send that. Thank you. There's Koblavi of Pokwasi Bengazi, who says, the brutality MPP suffered in Ablekuma North yesterday is a version of Atiwa and Ayawaso West Wagon attack on NDC party during President Akufo-Addo's time. MPP members who were attacked in Ablekuma North yesterday should blame themselves because MPP did the same to NDC in Ayawaso West Wagon election. It was President Akufo-Addo who set that bad example, and it has affected his own party members. That's Koblavi Pokwasi Bengazi's stance on the matter. This is coming from Papa Bisio. Because the question that's lingering in the minds of a lot of Ghanaians, who were those firing guns at Radiant Way School at Ablekuma North yesterday. Our security agencies must wake up, especially the national security outfit. Akwetia on my mind, Papa BCU sent that from Accra. Prince Erin Koforidua says, to be sincere, I don't think the violence that took place at Ablekuma North, to be sincere, I don't support the violence that took place at Ablekuma North. But the MPP who supported the violence at Ayawaso West must be the last people to talk about Ablekuma North violence. The MPP should boycott the 2028 elections as far as the current EC chairperson is still at post. The hypocrisy of the MPP is legendary. God bless our homeland, Ghana. That's Prince Erin Koforidua who sent that. Justice Konyo says, good morning. Ablekuma North election calls for humanity and restraint. Says Ablekuma North rerun election could have been handled better. In all things, we must place humanity above political interest. The assault on the MPP deputy organizer was completely uncalled for, no matter the level of provocation. Violence should never be the response. To my fellow youth, let us exercise patience and self-control. Politics should not drive us to harm one another. Let us lead with wisdom, not aggression. That's Justice Bonyo who sent that comment. Thank you very much for sending in those comments. Okay, I was trying to read some from Facebook, but Mr. Landon, nice to see you this morning.
Nice to see you too, Sena, this morning.
We are listening to
and good morning to my colleagues, Honorable Zita, my good brother Ni, and Alhaji. Well, let me start first by congratulating Iramna Obin on winning the election. It's not easy going through an election, especially when the election process draws out the way it has. You know, And like my colleague said, election, if you haven't been through it, it's not easy. I went through parliamentary primaries in Cape North. I know what I went through. You know, even when I had my own, of all the candidates at the time, I had the biggest billboards. My opponents, their billboards were standing there, smaller billboards. And my giant billboards were being broken. And after thorough investigations, I found out who the culprits were. I didn't, it wasn't NDC. So, you know, it takes a lot out of you, you know. Apart from your resources, your spirit, your soul, it's not easy. So I congratulate her for having gone through what she's gone through successfully. And also, Zita made reference to my good brother, Adekuka. I'm in black this morning because I'm attending his 1 week. He was a schoolmate, same house, Elliott House, but of course he was my senior. So back to our discussion. The election violence that we're all talking about, it's most unfortunate that after all the problems we've had over the 7 months and eventually we've come to the election, on a morning like this, we should have been talking about what the prospects are, you know, what the Okaikwe North people should be looking forward to, what the candidates' plans are, how we can interrogate those plans, etc. That should have been the conversation. But there were 19, the election was held in 19 polling stations. One polling station recorded an incident, which has become the topical incident about the whole election. And there was also the side incident of the policeman assaulting a journalist. Now, this incident that we're talking about, it happened within a window of about 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and that was it. At the end of that 30 minutes, the whole incident was over. Everything that has happened after that is just commentary. So you isolate the issue and realize that it wasn't, it was bad, but you know, what happened? Did somebody go and cause violence? Did somebody go and attack somebody? This thing took its rise when a former minister, a member of the opposition party, former member of parliament, visited a particular police station the second time that morning. And it appears her presence just had an effect on some people, and there was some reaction. In her effort to defend herself or whatever, she applied pepper spray. And this is what has culminated in this whole thing. Yes, I condemn any form of violence by anybody, anywhere, whether it's in elections, a road traffic situation, whatever, domestic or whatever way. I wholeheartedly and vehemently condemn violence. So, it's unfortunate that this incident occurred. Now, I want to go back to how it started. Before it came about, there were some leaders of the parties who had begun to make threats and issue virtual incitements, you know, about this election, which was also very bad. The day before the election, had called upon the Inspector General of Police that anybody making any such threat should be invited by the police, you know, and dealt with. Because these are the precursors that create the environment that causes violence. And at the end of the day, I always insist that it boils down to leadership. If the leaders show proper leadership, there'll be no violence. I can't remember what year it was, but there was a by-election somewhere in, I think the Bronco region. I can't remember too clearly. At the time, Peter McMahon was chairman of MPP, and the late Kwabena J was chairman of NDC. There was a lot of fear and worry that that by-election was going to be challenging, and there was the prospect of some violence. What happened? The day before, in that constituency, Peter McMahon and his friend Kwabena J walked hand in hand down the main street to show the people that there's no problem. For some of the party supporters on both sides, they were shocked. They couldn't believe that Peter McMahon and Kwabena J could be friends. But they demonstrated to everybody that we are friends. So if we are friends, who are you to go and fight? That in itself, that action, brought down the political temperature in that constituency for that by-election. And the by-election went without a problem. So we have the capacity to have elections without problems. We've had several by-elections without problems. But we always make reference to those ones that had difficulties. And if you look into all those difficult situations, you can point a finger at individuals who played a key role in causing those troubles. But in the past, those individuals go away virtually unpunished. They sometimes they even benefit from political cover and defense. So they go around feeling, it's wrong. We must change the narrative. We must all condemn before it starts. The moment somebody starts talking and inciting, we deal with that person, irrespective of the political party they come from, whether they come from our own party or from another party. Once an individual does that, because when the violence comes, the violence doesn't look at political party colors. It visits everybody. Stray bullets don't look for they just meet anybody along the way. So these are issues that are very, very, for me, very, very dear. And we must, collectively look at dealing with this situation. Like some of the recommendations Zita has just said. Electoral officers who have been caught to be complicit in those incidents that raise political tension. A whole electoral officer, and you are seeing, and we've seen incidents of these in the past. We've seen incidents, and these people are never punished. Nothing happens to them. It must change. That has to stop. If an electoral officer is publicly disgraced, nobody offering themselves to be as a volunteer to work in any election process would even dream of doing something like that. So it's very important that we do these things. Now, in this same incident that we're talking about, like I'm saying, there were 18 other polling stations which went about peacefully. There was no problem. But it also brought about certain challenges that also came about. For example, when mention was made of the polling station, the polling stations that the elections were going to be conducted, in some cases not enough detail was given. So for example, they make reference to a particular school, polling station in Methodist school. But what people didn't realize is that Methodist school has 3 or 4 polling stations, and it's only one particular one that the election is being conducted. So people get up, go to the polling station, expecting to vote, only to be told that it is not their particular polling station where the voting is going to be conducted. And the communication doesn't go right. That person goes out, a media house meets them, they grant an interview, and I went there and the electoral officer sacked me, they don't want me to vote because they know I'm NDC or they know I'm MPP, and that begins to cause political tension. Ignorance, ill information. And these are some of the things that cause problems. So it is important that the proper information is given out. People are well informed. The Electoral Commission must concentrate and do its job. I'll talk about the Electoral Commission later. But, these are some of the things that happen that cause these problems. And also, you know, I've, in the aftermath of this incident, I've heard a lot of comments, some of which I find most unfortunate, like some I've heard this morning on this program. You know, the Honorable Hawa Kumson is my friend. She's a nice lady. You know, yes, her name has been associated with some unfortunate incidents in the past. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if somebody were to appear somewhere and they've been involved in some, or their names have been involved in some issues in the past, that alone should be grounds for somebody to want to attack them or whatever. I think that is most unfair and it's wrong. You know, we are talking about this election that we had yesterday. But look at the constant reference people are making to Ayawa, So West, Wogon, and all that. Nobody is making reference to those by-elections that we held that went peacefully. As if to say all by-elections are by-elections of problems and trouble, and everybody's talking about Akwetia having. If the police do their homework, the Electoral Commission do their homework, the political parties do their homework, Akwetia should happen without any incident. There should be absolutely no problem at all. But if we all begin to psych ourselves to expect violence, it will happen. And if leaders behave irresponsibly, violence will occur. So the right things have to be done to ensure that these things don't happen. You know? And back to this same incident. People are talking about what has happened, but there are other facts of the matter that do not seem to be coming up. Before then, I'm talking about the pepper spray. Yes, pepper spray is often handled, a lot of women carry it in their handbags as a form of protection, especially people who work late at night, nurses and people like that, because their environments could be dangerous, they could be attacked, so they quickly pop out a pepper spray as a form of defense. So I don't think we should describe pepper spray as, I'm not justifying its use. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just making reference to the item. You know, I know, I myself, during my campaign in Cape Coast, I found that there were some nurses whose flats in Interberton were isolated. And when they closed late, because the street lights were not working, there were times where some of them had been attacked. And I made efforts to get them pepper spray to defend themselves. If they were attacked, people tried to snatch their phones. So I found it very difficult when I had the deputy ranking member of the NDC on another platform describing how as somebody who had gone with carrying a weapon of pepper spray. No, pepper spray is not a weapon. It was a...
You're supposed to register it.
Well,
you cannot just
it can be an offensive weapon.
Yes.
And when you carry the intent may be that you may encounter
I'm
trouble.
not going into the facts of the matter. I'm just stating
I'm sure that the
case.
intent is that you may encounter some
Yeah.
problem. So in carrying it, you might have intended that there will be some problem
Yes.
for which you will use it.
Yes. So
that's where the problem
That's
is.
all right. If you spray pepper spray on me, I'll jump at you.
Of course, if you haven't attacked the person, which you won't attack a person too. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the point. Then also in that incident, when this unfortunate incident happened, one issue that hasn't been stated is that the people who actually rushed this former member of parliament, former minister of state to the hospital were leaders of the NDC, her friends. They came to her rescue and took her to the hospital. You see, so let's just put these things in context. It wasn't purely NDC versus MPP, no. Some individuals attacked an individual, other individuals came to her aid. It was not a political matter, you know. And I want to commend those gentlemen, NDC national officers, who came to her rescue, you see, to assist her in the situation. The situation was unfortunate. It should never have happened in the first place. Maybe she should have known a little better and not gone back there the second time. You see, it may have averted the situation and we would not have been talking about this. But it did happen, and this was the consequence. So I just hope that all the lessons would have been learned from this incident. Yes, there's the talk that the police probably should have been armed. I still have the view that the police should not. Maybe the police should organize themselves better, and their responses to various situations should be more apt and more rapid, you know. So I think that that is what should happen in that kind of situation. The election itself, all told, went well. I heard the Minister for Interior and the Minister for Defense. I heard the way they spoke when they got to the scene not too long after it had happened. My fear and worry was that the way they would speak might probably pour more petrol into the fire. But rather, they disarmed the situation. They managed it, and I was so happy with their handling of it, particularly the Minister for Defense, Omani Bwama. And also before then, too, was Eduji Tamaklo. Yeah, Eduji. Yeah. You know, he spoke to the media, and the way he handled it, excellent, helped diffuse the situation. Whereas the same incident, I was hearing it on another network, and the way the commentator was speaking, you would think that there was mayhem coming on. So the media too, we have to be very critical of the media, because the media can also fuel some of these things in a very bad way, very, very, very bad way. That was what it was. That was what it was. You know? So I think there are lessons to be learned. And our aim is that each election should be far better than the previous. Whether it's by National Assembly or whatever election that we hold, should be better than the previous. Because after all, as human beings, we want to see progress in our lives. Everything we want to do, we want to see what we are doing today, tomorrow we want to see it better. So as for that one, this is what we expect. The Electoral Commission has demonstrated beyond all reasonable doubt their total incompetence. Total incompetence. The chairperson was summoned to Parliament about a week or so, or just over a week or so ago, and the responses that were given and what happened consequently, totally out of gear. And when you listen, you realize that it was the political parties themselves and their representatives who, when they met with the Electoral Commission and they examined all the facts, decided and agreed among themselves that of the 37 polling stations that were in contention, 18, the two sides had agreed, okay, we can let these ones pass. But the 19 here, we are going to have a rerun. This is something that could have been done months ago. We didn't have to wait till this time. So that demonstrates to me the total incompetence of the EC. Total incompetence. So there should be no question about anybody wanting to remove them. I think they themselves should advise themselves. They should advise themselves and just say, well, I was given a job, I tried to do my best, but I have fallen below my own expectations, so I'm going. This is the honorable thing to do. And I will call upon them to resign. If they value Ghana's democracy, they should resign. Because they have demonstrated, and I hope that when they resign, as we are now doing constitutional review, when we are choosing what do you call them? The
commissioners.
Commissioners of the Electoral Commission, we have some institutional representation as well. They shouldn't just be people who are just appointed by the government. We should have institutional representation. The traditional National House of Chiefs can have a representative there. We can have certain professional bodies, you know, the statisticians, they should have a representation there. You know, the Bar Association, they can have a representation there. Engineers, they should have a representation. You know, and then then the government can appoint the three, the top and the deputies. Then we know that we have a proper independent Electoral Commission. But the way they have, and you see, sometimes when somebody does a bad job, they appreciate the one you thought had done a bad job before. We now see that Afarijan and even Charlotte Osei, who was sacked, They did a far better job than these people have done. Far better. You know, so I will call upon them that if they value their own reputations, they should do the honorable thing by resigning, so that a proper look is taken of not just the commissioners or the board of the Electoral Commission, but the whole structure, you know, with proper penalties put in place for people along the way, how they are recruited, how they are accountable, you know. So at the end of the day, we get when the Electoral Commission speaks, nobody will question. Everybody is satisfied that they've done a good job. There will be no chaos. Nobody will be worried. Because you know that at the end of the day, it is just a vote that is going to be counted. And when the vote is counted, at the end of the day, when the votes are counted at the polling station, everybody is there. The party representatives have the copies of the results. So what is the big deal about this? What is all the noise about it? Is there something that we cannot do? Is it something we have not done so many times before? So why should there be a problem this time around? There must be the incompetence of the people there. So I think that in terms of the Electoral Commission, this is how we should handle it. As for the New Patriotic Party and how they handled it, sometimes I feel sad talking about the New Patriotic Party, because a party that I actually gave my heart out for behaving like this. This is not the New Patriotic Party. No. No. The party was a party. The rules are the rules. Everybody obeys the rules. People can have their disagreements, and it is part of the process. It's a democracy. I have my view, you have your view. By the end of the day, the final result is what we all go by. But it has changed. Now there's total chaos. And the fact of the matter, the truth of the matter that the party must recognize is that, look, there was a time when NDC was seen as a party of riff-raff and party, they like violence, they are a party that, but hey, Masa, everything is leadership. And under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he's making NDC look very attractive. You know, he has turned the table. We grew up in a generation where we had our own prejudices, and because of our own experiences and what we went through, how we felt about the NDC. But the next generation after us, who didn't go through what we went through, who are looking at things objectively, they don't care about anything else. They are looking at things as they are. And this is what NPP should be thinking about. Building the party, building the credibility of the party. You know, I heard my friend Patrick Bwama giving advice about what the party should do. And I'll add that a poison chalice was introduced into the party, and that is what has killed the party. A poison chalice. In 2007, our presidential aspirants had a massive campaign. National, all of them ran national campaign. Vigorous and vibrant campaign. At the end of the day, the party came together, everybody was fine. Like previous challenges in the past. But suddenly what happened? Now, if you are supporting this man or you are supporting that man, then therefore you are now an enemy. How can you be an enemy? How can you be an enemy? Huh? Then when something is wrong and you say it is wrong, they say, then you are Yanum. Sir. When the thing that is wrong, we can all see is wrong. And so I shouldn't say it? No. This is not the party. So I just hope that for the good of the party, they seriously re-examine these issues and deal with it properly. Otherwise, the way it is going, in the last few years, all the rules have been always twisted and bent to suit one individual. Now, total chaos. It's like there's no leader. How? Eh? Anyway.
That's why I want to choose a leader.
Well, that one too. I wish you
but remind him that, you see, if somebody passes bad air on you and you are overzealous to retaliate, you will bring out the reality.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lani. Anyway, this is still the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, live from the studios of Pan-African Television. Remind me of our guest in studio this morning. You just heard Mr. Philip Land, who is a leading member of the Movement for Change. Solo keeps saying, telling all of us that you inaugurate a party soon. A party will come out soon. You are in the process of registering it. That will soon see the movement transmogrify into a political party. Meanwhile, Nino Hansen, Norte from the New Patriotic Party, former member of Parliament for Tema Central, they are also hopeful that you would forget about the party thing and join them. Yeah, I see.
You will come back to the original.
They will come back. They will come back home and reform the party.
Alhaji ABF Sena is one member of Parliament for Sanyarugu, and of course, sitting to my immediate right, Ambassador Zita Saba Benson, who is former Ghana ambassador to the Czech Republic. Well, we can move on to the matter of gold, because many things have been said about the gold board and how it is contributing to the stability of the currency and ultimately influencing inflation and prices to a certain extent. Well, the gold board is now seeking to take control of the trading of gold in the entire country. So they are enforcing their act. That says only the gold board can license you to buy small-scale gold from small-scale miners, and deal in it. And you have to be Ghanaian. If you are a foreigner, you are in breach of the law if you buy gold from small-scale miners and deal in it in Ghana. The only way you can get involved as a foreigner is to buy from the gold board. So they have formed a task force which is to enforce this particular law. Well, let me start from Alhaji ABF Sena once again on this one. Yeah.
Commend His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for the game-changing shift, paradigm shift. If you do the same thing all the time, I don't think you will expect any radical positive result. We have been operating this Gogisberian economy from time immemorial, from the era of the slave trade through the colonial yoke era down to the era of independence, and we are still doing the same thing. We need a bold visionary leader like President Mahama is to shift that mindset and get us to do this. Sena, of course, let me also commend the young, very energetic, dynamic Sami Jefi. He's a multi-talented guy, and I want to say he's done so well with assignments that have been given, from helping with the communications. I worked with him in the Asi North by-election. When the chairman of the party, the general, gave him the leeway to help run the campaign. And I worked very actively with him because I was very close to our leader, Nombo Atufosen, who exhibited great, fantastic personality to work with. And so I think that Sami, within this, has done very well to anchor the gold board on a solid pedestal. Not only just the legal aspects of, but getting it properly anchored and functional to deliver to public expectation. I believe that he's worked very well. I want to situate this within the context of a general African malaise. Sena, the African continent, undisputedly, is the richest continent on the surface of this earth. There can be no doubt about that. There's hardly any international mineral of value, commercial value, that you cannot find on the African continent. Agriculture. Now look at the human resource. Africa is the only continent that has that great growth going into the future. But in spite of this monumental wealth Allah Almighty has given us, Africa features the poorest people on the face of this earth. The poorest of the poor is in Africa.
West and Central Africa. West and Central
So?
Africa is the poorest amongst the
where you feature the most valuable wealth that you can think of. So what a paradox. You being the richest featuring the poorest. And so it comes down to the simple analogy, the founder of this nation, the legendary founder of this nation, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, aptly captured. And Sena, these are things Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah so in the 60s, in fact in the 50s, even if you like in the 40s, when he was still in the Pan-Africanist movement, in the diaspora, that the salvation for Africa's economic woes lies in the lies in the continental unity of African states. You see, I just want to, even when you are lying flat on your back, you can't see God. What about face down? When you are face down? When Ghana, as a small country like Ghana, competes against the United Kingdom, or Sena, Great Britain, or France, look at how diminished our chances are. The same as goes for Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Gambia, all those other countries. If Ghana cannot even find it, you are talking about Gambia. So you see small countries, balkanized African countries, individually contesting against even these great European powers, some of whom are their colonial masters. You don't stand any chance. Then these same developed countries in the north, Britain, now Britain is out of the EU now, Germany, France, Belgium, all those other countries, now feel that within the current global realignment, where they are now coalescing, there's a coalescence of nations. Bigger nations which had economic might now feel that the global environment is such that they can no longer function as separate entities. They must coalesce. They must regroup as entities. And so you have them form an European Union. Germany, I remember, France, all these countries individually put themselves together as a European Union. Previously, you could not even find your way through when you are contesting the Union. Now you are contesting against EU. There are Asian countries aggregating into the Association of Southeast Asian nations, ASEAN. Maybe until Trump came, you have the NAFTA, North American Free Trade Area. So you all these other continents and others are coalescing. Africa is balkanizing. Even far from even coming together, we are even breaking further apart. Sudan breaks into North Sudan, into Sudan and South Sudan. Ethiopia into Eritrea, and plenty disparate. We are breaking up when others are coalescing. How do you control and manage your resources? And every single individual African head of state is content with raising his shoulders as president of a small, insignificant country, and you don't look at the bigger picture of African unity. And so you sacrifice African unity for the disparate, small African country that you are. So we end up being at the power play of the big powers. So they come, they will play you against, play Ghana against Nigeria, play Nigeria against Sierra Leone, and before you realize, in your disunity, they are taking away your resources. Let us be cognizant of the fact that global resources are finite. And that it is a condition, the condition of welfare and progress of the developed nations and the better life of their people is a condition for our impoverishment. So the more they are able to take resources from us, the more they make life better for their people, and the worse our people sink into the throes of poverty. That is what it is. And so if you are not able to do that, and worst of all, then you come to the dynamics of the politics of the individual African countries. There are some people who come as leaders, they are not interested in the true welfare of their people. They come for their own political aggrandizement. Some come to make name, make money, see the welfare of their friends, family, whatever ever. I won't go into the other distance. But that narrow confines is what is motivating them to power. They are not motivated to come to power to work for the progress and the well-being of the people. I just take the man behind you, the legendary Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. When Nkrumah left, even at the distance, he had no house of his own. Do you know that? It was even Makwala women I had who built even the house. Kwame Nkrumah put his everything to work for this country.
He donated it to the state.
Okay? Can you fathom how much some people within a short period of time in politics at the national level, leaders, what they have done to this country, what they have taken from this country? Can you fathom how much corruption, naked thievery, robbery of our resources has taken away things from us? So, if you put all this together and you don't control, now just look at gold. I've been to South Africa a few times under the aegis of Parliament, and you find out that cities like Johannesburg were built on the back of gold. Sena, can you tell me in Ghana here? The other time I went to, in the course of the campaign, when we were in Asin North, sometimes you used to drive through New Edubasi and then go through to Obuasi. You go to Obuasi and they tell you that this is a land of gold. You'll be sorry. There are deep-seated ravines to show, where there are those beautiful edifices to show in South Africa and all this. And you come there, it's a sad commentary. Even on the roads, some of the roads you drive, your shock absorbers, when you go, you have to visit Abosokai for replacements. So you see, you have to transform, because in a lot of instances, one, we're a gold producing country in Ghana. We did not control the gold. I can tell you that Sena, more than 90% of the gold, Ghana had no control. You signed an agreement, say when we had this with Anglo Gold, and it's what, 10% diminished down all the way now to zilch. So the only way you can do, and that is why I salute the vision of Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, is now to retain not only the gold here, but even to go a further step to refine and add value to the gold before you export. Because when you engage in value addition, you are enhancing the quality of the product, and by this, the value and the price of the product. So, even as you contemplate working towards the bigger picture of having universal control of your resources, internally, you must begin to take steps to see how you can improve your value addition, how you can begin to take control. So, here, the law that was passed, and you just read some of them. Foreigners could take gold out very easily at the airport, even without anybody scrutinizing them. Easily. And so, the pillage of our gold resources went unabated, unchallenged. Today, I can say, under His Excellency President Mahama, as a proud Ghanaian, something has been done. And within this short period of time, Sena, figures have been released about how much gold we have been able to retain for our economy. More than 2.1 million tons, sometimes even in a month. So that tells you, if we act, what we can do. And what has that done? That has contributed to helping to stabilize our currency. The CD, which was falling like today I can say it with a relative, is because I used to say that it is falling like a coconut. And the PNC people were my friends, and they were there feeling. So the CD, which was falling like a newly liberated coconut from the tree, has seen not just even stability, but appreciation. I remember in the run-up to the elections and others, we are getting to 16 point something, getting to 17 cedis per dollar. Today, at least at the official rate is 10 point something. When we are going to buy outside, maybe about 11, 12.
There's even a smuggler that is crossing the 12.
Exactly. So I'm even saying the maximum 11, 12. When we are talking about getting to the region of 17s. As a result of progressive nationalistic policies such as being pursued by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. So I salute this. But I want to stand here and say that this should not even just be the optimum. We must go to the maximum. The government must come up with more policies. In the week, I have heard another announcement that government is trying to stop the raw importation of shea nuts.
The raw export.
Yes. Yes. I salute that as another progressive move. And the information I got was that by 2026, I want to say that government must ensure that by the close of this year, 2025, because when you allow them that same leeway to have the room, when you want to ban the export of something, and you give them a very long rope, so I said the end of 2026, it's too long. I think that it must be by the close of this year. Government must ensure that there's a zero tolerance for the export of shea nuts. Raw shea nuts. The same must apply to cashew. The same must apply to important raw materials that we have, so that we can add value. And when you add value to it and process it, it's no longer a raw material that is subject to the law of perishability. That because of its perishable nature, if you don't export it within the same time, it deteriorates and you lose it. When you add value, it becomes a processed product. The perishability level reduces. You are able to regulate its supply, and once you regulate the supply on the market, you have the opportunity to dictate the price on the international market. I say this for shea nuts because I come from I'm a Savannah product. And as Savannah product, we know we grew with shea nuts. I used to carry bucket on my head to go and harvest shea nuts, to come and sell and go back to school. So I know the value of the shea nut. So clearly, if we are able to do that, and this was shea nut that just grows in the wild, I believe that even when we pay that premium to shea nut, we can even cultivate it as a commercial product, and have people establish plantation shea nuts, and God knows where we can get. If you go to the international community now, shea butter is a valued commodity. And so I've been saying that you cannot be sitting on a gold mine and complain of poverty. You can't live by the banks of a river and spit to wash your hands. We have all these endowed resources at us, and our people are poor. I think it's no longer an excuse. With the emergence, like I said, I'm very, very happy that any day, any time, Ghanaians should be proud that we have a president like President John Dramani Mahama, who not just envisions today, he looks far further into the future. In fact, a carbon copy of the legendary Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I'm not saying that he's on the same page. I will not sit here and maybe I may be construed as a sycophant to want to compare President Mahama with Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But I know that a chicken does not dare a hawk for a fight. But I am beginning to see some of the policy frameworks that His Excellency President Mahama is adopting to take control of our resources, and by extension, on the Pan-Africanist system. If we all galvanize our economies and go in that direction, I have no doubt in my mind that we shall come out of the doldrums.
Thank you very much. I like that proverb. You said you can't sit by the banks of a river and spit to wash your hands. Oh, okay, I see.
The chicken can't dare the hawk to a fight.
Thank you, Alhaji. Those who don't know, Alhaji was was a very good writer. Yeah. He's a professional journalist. That was what he did. Nowadays, he doesn't write that much. Yes. Now he says it. First, he used to write it. Now he says a lot of...
In the middle of a storm, you can mistake a window for a door.
Yes, Ni.
Sena, thank you very, very much. In fact, Alhaji has, just as I said earlier on, he's taking the wind out of my sail again. But, you know, one of the best reforms we have seen with this government, and to add to what he has said, is the introduction of the gold board. No doubt about it. It's something that I'd also discussed with friends before it became a policy of the NDC, when we also tried to do what we call the gold for oil. All these discussions were had at the back of, I mean, between ourselves. People brought up so many ideas. But I had always believed in this, because if you take Saudi Arabia, you can go and drill oil, but the Saudi state sells the oil through Aramco. So it is a resource control that you must have. It is part of your bargaining chip on the international market. Today, if you see China, they have what you call rare earth minerals. China is playing politics with their rare earth minerals. China will not export to the United States just for exporting sake. The agreements and things that you are allowed to even use the minerals for are limited. If you're going to use it for something that would one day become a weapon, China says no. You cannot, if it's exported to you, you cannot export it to a third party. They are negotiating heavily on their small rare earth minerals that they have, let alone us, with gold. Gold is wealth, gold is cash, gold is currency. Nobody buys gold with a debt. No, you pay and carry, cash and carry. And in Ghana, you can go and wash sand by your grandmother's grave and you find gold. Just go and wash it by the river next to your house and you find gold. So we are blessed beyond measure. Trust me. We are so blessed that in Ghana, there are places where construction companies come from abroad. They are drilling a road, paving a road somewhere in Asankregua. They shipped all the sand away, the sand that they were drilling. They shipped it. They were saying, no, because they knew what they found in the earth. Titanium, everything you can take. If you take the chemical table, every precious metal on the chemical table can be found in Ghana and the larger Africa. Yet our people are very poor. In fact, if you take the whole globe that we see, West and Central Africa is the poorest region of the world. Yet we have some of the richest gold mines in the world, like Alhaji was saying. Go to Obuasi. Anytime I go to Obuasi, I weep. You go to Johannesburg and you see what they have done with their gold. And go to Obuasi and people even convince you that, oh, gold will be pure hanti and yeka akwan waha. Sometimes you wonder, what kind of logic is this one? That the gold might appear somewhere there, so we don't asphalt our roads, and that our roads must be left dusty. Really? How much is asphalt compared to the gold that is in there? If you need to wipe off the asphalt in the future, you wipe it off and build another one. We are prepared to give our gold resources to foreigners. And you know how people smuggle gold out of Ghana? The guys who buy, in fact, the gold board, kudos to Sami Jenfi and his advisors. If these are his ideas, he's a brilliant guy. If not him, then the advisors are very good. And this is just the beginning of the reforms that I am expecting. The reforms must go deeper, deeper, deeper beyond this. Look, in the past, what the Indian traders were doing was that they import rice, they sell the rice on our market, they take all the cedis, and then they buy the gold and they now export the gold. So they don't even need forex. They don't go and look for a dollar at the bank. No. And they find their way to send the gold out, even till to date. And I'm happy that the gold board has created this task force, because the people still smuggling the gold. It's their business. They send it out to our neighboring countries and bring it through as transit, so it doesn't attract any taxes. And then all of a sudden, our neighboring countries are doing more transit export than us. It has gone up. We should tell you something. That is why the black market rate for the dollar has gone up to 12, because government's official rate is about 10. Yet the black market is 12 because there's demand for the dollar in the black market. Why don't they go to the banking systems to buy? And it's the same people. There are people I know who are doing 1 billion cedis of gold a week in Ghana, and they were foreigners. Yes.
A week?
A week. 1 billion cedis. That's about $100 million worth of gold a week in Ghana. They were sitting in Kumasi. Foreigners. I don't need to mention the kind of, the jurisdiction they are coming from. And they were buying gold. Yet Ghanaians couldn't get the cedis to even buy the gold. Even when we're doing the gold board, we're struggling to get the cedis to buy the gold. So this restrictive measure where government is the only sole exporter is the best model for now. And also making sure that Ghanaians are the buyers on the ground is the best model. It creates jobs for a lot of young people. Apart from the government's financing, you also have what you call self-financing aggregators. We have tier 1 buyers, tier 2 buyers, tier 3 buyers, all the way to the bottom. So even you don't need to have $1 million to start. You start small. You can be a tier 3 buyer, move to a tier 2 buyer, become a tier 1 buyer, and become an aggregator on your own. Isn't it job creation? Yes, it is. And so it shouldn't even stop with gold. It should transcend gold and get to cashew. We have the same problem with cashew. Foreigners come in during the season, they bring rice, they sell it in the close season, they sell their rice, take the cedis, and now go to Sampa and buy all the cashew. They even cross the border to Bonduku and smuggle the cashew into Ghana. And they come and dry it in Tema, in our warehouses in Tema. So we see that, we know them every day. We know the people who run these businesses. We know all of them. And they are shippers, everybody. But Ghanaians are not able to benefit. We should go that next step and add cashew and share nut to it, and other commodities. So that, apart from creating jobs, we will have some bargaining tools and chips to run these things. Even timber. When you go to Vietnam, all the timber that comes from Ghana is bought by Indians and it ends up in Vietnam. The Vietnamese don't come here themselves because they don't know here too well. But the Indians know this region very well. All the timber in Ghana ends up in Vietnam. I was on the Environment Committee and we used to visit the Forestry Commission. So we got to know 90% of our timber ends up in Vietnam. Today, Vietnamese wood manufacturing companies are employing Ghanaians or picking Ghanaians to go and work in their Ghanaians from timber market, Tema timber market, Ashama timber market, Accra timber market, and even Kumasi, to go and work for them in Vietnam. I was there, and our ambassador in Malaysia invited the Ghanaian community there, so we met with them through Parliament, and we got to know that many of them are teachers and woodworkers. They are there, large numbers. Some who don't want to even come back, they have married and have children there. They are not coming back. So it is a very good step in the right direction. And with the geopolitics of the world today and the things that are happening around the world, the flux in the power setup of the world, you know, that people don't even want the dollar anymore. The demand for the dollar has dampened. If you see the Japanese, if you go on the forex markets and you see what the Japanese are doing, they are dumping all their dollars. In 1 week, they dump about 100 million. India is dumping there, and everybody is buying gold. So there's a lot of demand for the gold. There are projections that 1 ounce that you buy for $3,000 now will be getting close to about $9,000, $10,000 by next summer. So it should tell you the pressure that it will come onto our space. How we would even fight the illegal menace that is part of it. So it is not a joke. Today everybody is buying gold and Swiss francs as security, because Swiss francs is a very strong currency and they are neutral. So everybody is buying gold and Swiss francs as security. The Japanese are dumping dollar and buying Swiss francs. There's a huge demand for Swiss francs today. So things are also expensive in their space now. But hey, these are the two currencies that everybody is relying on to waiting for the changes that might happen with all the BRICS and all the things that are coming up going on. But beyond that, just as my uncle said, maybe His Excellency John Mahama has learned a lot in the last 8 years. And now that he's been given a second opportunity, he's carrying out a lot of reforms. He also has a legacy to leave. That's what I see. He has a legacy to leave because most probably he will not have the opportunity to contest again. NDC would have to field a new candidate. MPP may field Dr. Bawumia or even a new candidate, we never know. However, because he has a legacy to leave, I've realized that he is doing things in a different way, in a very, very different way. And I want to commend him for that. It is in the interest of the people of Ghana that he does what is right for the people of Ghana. Simple. Regardless of political coloration. I keep telling people that I support the government and the people of Ghana. That's why I'm in politics. If I want to make money, I'm a businessman. I believe in the center-right ideology, and that's why I'm part of the New Patriotic Party. It doesn't mean that the government that is in power is my enemy. No, no, no. We all benefit from each other as and when we need to. So, for me, I'm giving him my support as my president, that he should continue to deliver. But the reforms must not end there. It must not end at the gold board level and the trading level. No. My uncle was talking about, let me borrow your constitution. We have this article 257 of the 1992 constitution. You know, my uncle was talking about the Gettysburg economy. And I want to read from the 1992 constitution, public lands, article 257, clause 6. Every mineral in its natural state, in, under, or upon any land in Ghana, rivers, streams, water courses throughout Ghana, the exclusive economic zone and any area covered by the territorial sea or continental shelf is the property of the Republic of Ghana and shall be vested in the President on behalf of the people and in trust for the people of Ghana. This clause, for me, I see it as a perpetuation of the colonial enterprise. What is the state we call Ghana? It is a creation by some people who sat at the dining table in Europe about 100 years ago, 1887, and shared Africa amongst themselves. Oh, Britain, you see Equatorial Guinea? It was like, oh, Gabon is for France. Take this small portion. You to take something, Spain, take this, and you use it to chop small. So they gave it to you. That is the creation. That is what Ghana is. It is out of that, over the years, political power was handed over to a new political elite, the Nkrumahs, the bourgeois, and blah, blah, blah. And today we have what we call Ghana. It's a perpetuation of our poverty. So you go to a village in the bush somewhere in Western Kropon, where the people have owned their land for thousands of years, or hundreds of years, have fought and died for the land, protected the land, and then all of a sudden, a certain entity called the government of Ghana says that the goods underneath the land belongs to me. The one on top, the farms and the cocoa farms belongs to you. I think that one is part of our perpetuation of poverty. And this week, there was an article done by one Bright Philip Donko in the Statesman that I was looking for. And it's a brilliant article that he's done, spelling out examples that are there in Australia, in Canada, even in the US. Why is it that in those jurisdictions where the Europeans dominate and have been able to take over the resources of the indigenous people, they made it that once you own the land, you own the resources as well. So, in their wisdom, because they knew they can control the state, they make the resources owned by the state so that they can either be there themselves or indirectly control the resource. So I'm of the view that we should reform and amend this portion in our constitution so that indigenous people and local people who own the resources become prime beneficiaries of the resources under their feet. Half of the conflicts in Africa is based on this, minus the arbitrary creation of the states, which has divided people, like my people, the Nzima people, my mother's people. Half of them are in Cote d'Ivoire, the rest are in Ghana. My uncles are on the other side, we are on this side. Today when we meet and we have family funerals in Nzima, we cannot talk to each other unless we speak in Nzima. The kids who don't speak any Nzima now become spectators. We are just watching each other. They speak French and we speak English. We cannot do anything. All we say is "ça va, ça va," and that's the end of it. So we really have to go to the drawing board and make these fundamental changes. But the most important thing is that the first step has been taken, which is resource control on a certain critical resource such as gold. And it's not only happening in Ghana, it's happening in Burkina. Mali is trying to do it. Niger is trying to do it with their uranium. And I'm telling you how beautiful and powerful Africa will be if we were together. If we're together. But these fundamental problems that you find in our constitution, you find in those constitutions all around the world, in our part of the world, are things that we have to deal with. We have to become conscious of them and work towards reforming some of these things so that we would be able to, people cannot divide and rule us. That our resources will not become curses for us. That our resources will become the blessings that God Almighty has made them for us. So that and our resources is not only limited to gold and oil and bauxite and those things. No. Even our language, our culture, who we are. All the troubles you find in Nigeria today, in the Riverine Delta and all those places, is the same problem. The people are not owners of their resources. They are not beneficiaries. They don't even need to own it. They just want to benefit from it. You go to a place, gas is being fled, and you can't even breathe. The person hasn't got access to fish. Nothing. If you go, look, like he was saying, some of our political leaders who are like stooges. Take a country like Equatorial Guinea. The president's son, who is the defense minister, he's always on TikTok and Instagram. Teddy Nguema, that's his Instagram. You just follow him. He's either every week he's in Europe with his sunglasses, living large, swimming. I mean, just partying. He's just partying. Blowing cash. And not small cash. Just enjoying life. And yet, he's now being touted as the future leader of a country as rich as a so-called country as rich as Equatorial Guinea. Really? So we have to go back to the drawing board. But it is a very good step that you have taken. And this step that we took with the gold board, it didn't come without ripples. No. There's a lot of resistance around the world. Yes. Because the demand for gold in India alone. Look, the war that is happening in Sudan today is a demand for gold. RSF is being supported by a whole country, UAE. A whole rebellion is being supported by UAE. Why? Because RSF is sending gold to the UAE. That's what is happening in Sudan. And the government is resisting it. The legitimate government that is recognized by the world and us is now looking like a pariah. He is rather looking bad. And the military, no, that was not even a junta, it was a military unit. Go and read. It's all because of gold. So there's a lot of pressure on Ghana. There's a lot of pressure on Ghana. And yet, but I believe and I know that there's a team that is good enough, is working well. I think that they can deliver. So far what we've seen is good. In fact, they've registered over 250 companies under the gold board already. And these are all Ghanaian companies. I'm just hoping and praying that the Ghanaians will not cede this opportunity to others, to foreigners. And then they become fronts for the companies. That they don't become fronts for the companies so that they will benefit. Look, Rome was not built in a day. It's gradual, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. You become a trader over time, you become a miner yourself over time, you also own a mine. We've seen what Ibrahim is doing. Ibrahim has moved from equipment supplier, equipment rental, blah, blah, blah. Today, he's pushing to run a $100 million mine. Fantastic. He will push such people to become our national champions. So for me, I think it is the right steps that we have taken. And it shouldn't end there. The reforms should continue so that it will inure to the benefit of the people of Ghana. And Ghana can become the example for other African countries to learn from. Zambia, Congo, DRC. The conflict in DRC, it's all the same thing. Whether it's gold, it's cobalt, it's diamond. Today, America says, I will guarantee you peace if you give me your resource. That is what Trump is negotiating for. Yeah. I'll give you peace if you grant me your resource.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very much. Yes. In fact, what he's talking about, if we want to get an understanding of exactly how resources can leave a country in total chaos, I think Nkrumah wrote a book called The Challenge in the Congo, where he talks about his attempt to broker peace there and try to support the government. Yes, for so long. Yes, for so long. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it's happening.
Well, Ambassador.
Yes. In fact, Ni and Alhaji have said it all. And I really like how Ni is passionate and honest and non-partisan. I mean, he tells the truth. I mean, if someone does something good, you have to say it. So yeah, kudos on that. I really like that. The Gold Board is doing wonders. And I must also join in saying congratulations to Sami Jemfi and the team on this Gold Board thing. It's brought a little stability to our economy. And recently I was reading that IMF was saying that we should slow down with the stabilization of the foreign currency because it's not working well for them. But right now we are in control of whatever we are doing, and I'm very happy with how things are being done. He spoke about the UAE, getting the raw gold and refining it and sending it to the market. That's what happens. We have gold here in Ghana, but we go to Dubai to go and buy gold because it's cheaper and better refined over there. So one of the things that I'm proud and happy that the Gold Board is doing is also refining the gold before taking out, so that some of us don't have to go to Dubai to go and buy refined gold, And for now, the Gold Board has managed to prevent smuggling. We have managed to save $6 billion from smuggling of gold, which is a very good thing. This $6 billion would have gone into people's pockets. I've always been passionate about illegal mining. Why? Because the resources belongs to all of us. Yet we have just a group of people led by Chinese people who come and take the gold that is supposed to be used for all of us as a nation. They take it, put it in their pocket, and then they take it away. And then we have lack of educational facilities, lack of hospitals, lack of roads, and all that. This $6 billion that have been saved from gold smuggling can be used to build infrastructure for the country. Dubai doesn't have gold, but if you want gold, you go to Dubai to go and buy gold. But they don't have gold. What Dubai has is oil, which is non-renewable. And they've used the oil to build their country. To now they are benefiting from tourism to the extent that we go there and go and spend money on tourism in Dubai. So when they run out of their oil, the next thing they are looking at is tourism, because tourism really pays. So if we are also able to seal the leakages from the smuggling of our gold, we can use that money to build our country, to the extent that Ghana would also become a hub for tourism. So that's how when I was Minister for Tourism, I remember that tourism was a third exchange earner. I don't know where it stands now. But tourism is an exchange earner for the country. And so if we're able to seal the loopholes and the leakages and save some money, we can build our infrastructure to the extent that Ghana would also be a place, first choice of tourist destination for people. So they are doing a very good thing. And what I like is that the Gold Board and His Excellency John Mahama, they are not just talking, they are walking the talk. A task force has been put in place to ensure that illegal mining, those engaging in illegal mining, is finally we put a stop to it. I'm happy about the task force because, fighting illegal mining is not easy. The past governments led by Nanado failed it. they couldn't fight the illegal mining, mostly because the perpetrators were mostly from governments, from the party and from their own government. So they couldn't really fight it because they were the ones who were engaged in it. People like Wuntumi and Co were the ones who were engaged in it. So in future, I don't know how to say this, but I felt sad when someone like Wuntumi came to sit on TV and brought gold bars, came to insult us and said, these are gold bars, these are mine. You know, gold that is meant for all of us. Because his party is in power, he has access to go and mine it and come and rub it in our face that these gold bars are mine. So those days are over. That now the gold belongs to all of us. It's being regulated by the gold board to the extent that nobody can come and show off gold bars in our faces. So it's very good. And His Excellency has also given a warning that if you are caught, any member of his government is caught engaging in galamsey, you will face the law. So that for starters is also good. What we need to do is to engage the small-scale miners, because it's not as if you want to put them out of job. Engage them. The small-scale miners, engage them. They have to be licensed. Their responsibilities must also be made clear to them. You don't go mine gold in a water body, destroy the water body, and then leave. You don't go into the forest areas, dig up gold, and leave. You know, so those things must be made clear to the people who are engaged in small-scale mining. That, yes, if you are given a small-scale mining license, these are your obligations, these are your responsibilities. You need to restore the land back. You cannot use these minerals, cyanide and all those poisonous minerals in our water bodies. Water that is supposed to serve us. As we speak, most areas don't even have water flowing through their taps because we as citizens or people who are engaged in galamsey, they have destroyed our water bodies. And I know that they are trying to reclaim those waters and repair all that. So it's good that we are doing that. If you look at regional trading, how do we even start? We rely mostly on the Western world. But our brothers from Chad and Burkina Faso, they've cut ties with the West. Chad cut ties with France because France has been cheating Africa for a very long time. Whatever, yes, stealing from Africa. France has nothing. Every resource they have is coming from the Francophone countries that they colonized through their assimilation policy and stuff that they did. So I am happy that Chad has finally managed to get a leader who has been bold enough to say that, look, enough, France, stay where you are. We are going to control our own resources. So they've cut off, and Burkina Faso is also doing very well. Burkina Faso has also stopped export of products like cashew and yes, and even beans. I saw a circular that said that they have still put a ban on exportation of beans because Ghana buys beans from. So they want to do more domestic trading. Yeah. So we can also do that, do domestic trading, do regional trading. Mostly in Ghana, what I notice is that the enemy is amongst us. We are our own enemies. So, you know, government is trying to ensure that we regulate gold, but our own people will rise against it and say, no, because they would prefer a Chinese person or a foreigner to come and take that money away. So we have to be firm. So that's why when he said, you know, if they are Ghanaian companies, they have to be Ghanaian companies. We don't have to front for them. But mostly that's what happens. And the DVLA is also supporting the fight against galamsey. Now what happens is that all excavators that come into the country must be registered with the DVLA. And I think they put a tracker on it. So they know the location of every excavator. So you can't just carry your excavator and go into a forest reserve and start digging for gold. So the policies of this governments, the gold board and everything, you know, related to gold, related to galamsey, illegal mining, I really like it. In the past, Sena, what we saw was we have Anglo Gold, Ashanti coming in, you know, foreign countries coming in. we sign a contract with them. They give us 3% of royalty. If you are lucky. Our own gold that you have come and mine, we don't have access to that gold. They pay us 3%. I remember that it was during Atamil's time, he so rest in peace, that we increased, cabinet increased the 3% to 6% royalty. And I don't blame them. I blame leadership who signed these contracts. It looks as if we feel intimidated by the white people when they come. So when they come and they tell us, oh, we found gold, or we want this gold concession, we are not able to tell them this is what we want. So going forward, the new crop of leadership must be able to fight in the interest of the people. That if a foreign company comes and you give them a concession, there should be a threshold. We shouldn't be getting more than 60%. Because they are going to invest their money and everything. So we have to come back. But 3% royalty to the states where we don't have access to the gold. Like he said, Obuasi is very poor. What have we put in place to ensure that Anglo gold, whatever gold they are taking, at least that area must benefit from the gold. But you come and take their gold away and they are still living in poverty. So past leaders have really failed when it comes to signing of these contracts. Even our oil, when Talo found the oil, how much are we getting? We are still buying oil. We're still buying refined oil from Nigeria, Colombia, and other places, because we only get 10% of our own oil. 10%. And 10% is not enough to take care of the country. So if we get more than 10%, if we have signed for more than 10%, and we even have a refinery working, we wouldn't need to buy refined oil. To the extent that sometimes there's even shortage of petrol or gas on the market. So these contracts must be looked at. It must be regulated. And Gold Board has been set up, to work as Cocoa Board, to regulate it. So, we are able to regulate who takes the gold out, and I like the punitive measures that have also been put in place. The whistleblower thing, where if you are able to tell government, tell government that this person is engaging in galamsey, you get 10% of whatever gold that they have mined. So it's very good, Sena. It's very, very good. They from January, exports from the small-scale mining sector reached 51.5 tons. 51.5 tons, which equals $5 billion. That is how much regulation of gold has brought in since January. That is how much. And that is what is stabilizing the dollar. The cedi. That is what is holding the cedi. And once the cedi becomes stable, all of us are able to breathe. All of us. Because then it controls cost of fuel. Because cost of fuel controls a lot of things. Transportation of goods and services, even food. Food from the rural areas coming in is determined by how much petrol they pay. So the Gold Board is in order. I hope that every person, it doesn't matter what party you belong to, like my brother Nee, you support it and let us make it a success. Don't pray that this government fails. Because if the government fails, we will all suffer. If things go haywire, and like under Kufuor and Co., the dollar reaches 17 cedis, cost of living will go up. And if cost of living goes up, standard of living will also fall. All of us will suffer. I won't suffer alone, all of us. Maybe others will suffer more than others.
Thank you.
Oh no, I don't know about it. I can't talk about it.
Ambassador, thank you very much. And of course, I think one of the things the government has been doing this week has also to streamline the fight against galamsey and illegal mining, because they realized that there were too many institutions that can claim a mandate to the fight against galamsey. Because, for example, EPA can say that they can fight illegal mining. Even the Water Resources Commission can say the same. So they realized that all this, including the police, started everybody. So there were many task forces on the field, to the extent that at some point there was a clash between two. So they decided that everybody pull back, let's streamline, and let's form one team which is on the field fighting galamsey. Mr. Landon.
Thank you, Sena. In fact, the Gold Board has been a success so far. And it's something that I don't want to even mention it now, but it was one of the plans that was going to be carried through by the Movement for Change. It was one of our very serious plans. But anyway, I want to commend President Mahama for setting it up. Because you see, one thing we've had is that a lot of people have had a lot of plans. It's not everybody who has had the boldness to execute it, because when you start executing it, you get hit back, not just locally, but even internationally. So I'll commend him for doing it and the success that they've achieved so far. Now, as it is going on and we are seeing the successes and we are seeing the definite, results, I just hope that they will not become complacent. Yes, there's a trajectory. Over the months, we've seen an increase every month, and there's projections as to how much more increases we'll be getting in the coming months. To the extent that people are making all kinds of very exciting projections as to the kind of revenues that we'll be getting towards the end of the year. But one thing they should be very conscious about, that they should not forget, is that while they are working at it, others too are planning against it. Yes, so far 250 Ghanaian companies have been established to buy gold. It's good. Employment is being created. People are getting jobs to do. Let us ensure that the gold that is being bought by these people are all coming to the gold board. All coming through the gold board. Because there's still people who would still want to be able to smuggle some of this acquired gold out of the country. So the gold board must keep up and work very seriously at this. I think another very positive development about the gold board, depending on how management goes about it, is that as we begin to get more gold, it will be easier for the government to make a clearer distinction, because you see, we talk about galamsey and we talk about small-scale mining. They are not the same. Small-scale mining is legally mandated mining that mines on certain, according to the law. They have to follow certain clear rules and regulations and practices. And that is governed by the Minerals Commission. So small-scale miners are a legal entity, and they must be encouraged to do their job. They are different from the galamseyers. They are people doing total illegal mining. They mine in forest areas, they mine in river bodies, they do the pollution because they don't follow any proper environmental practices laid down by law. They just go naked to collect their gold. So it is imperative that, we continue the fight against galamsey. I appreciate the efforts being done by the licensing authority to ensure that excavators coming in are being, provided with trackers. And I was very shocked to hear, as at I think last month or the month before, that they had about 3,000 excavators still waiting to be cleared from the port. I mean, 3,000 excavators? I think the government should come out with a policy to discourage importation of excavators and encourage the importation of tractors. They are talking about cashew and all these things. How much does a tractor cost? One excavator can give you about 3 tractors. We had Universal at Nsawum. Every poor farmer, I used to bought my tractor from Nsawum, Universal. It was a Romanian tractor that was assembled at Nsawum. It was called Universal. Mechanical Lloyd was assembling Massey Ferguson tractors. Farmers in Ghana were going for loans and buying tractors and farming and paying back their loans. We should go back to that. That should be the focus. I'm very happy about this cashew development. I heard this on the news the other day, and this conference that is coming up. These are very positive developments. And I also am happy about the 2026 time frame that they have given, because it's going to give, time for people to produce and look, there was a time when people do a lot of cashew production, but what happened? There wasn't end user. It wasn't being processed. So a lot of people who are doing cashew production abandoned cashew production and went into other crops, and other tree crops. So since there's a conscious effort to ensure that the ban is placed by 2026, and the measures are going to be put in place before then to build the capacity and infrastructure before then, I think the thing has a very good prospect. And for me, it demonstrates clear planning for the handling of such a product. And I want to see, we used to produce cotton in Ghana. There are so many things we're producing. And it should be a policy of value addition. Everything there should be value addition. In India, they add value to the simplest items. At rural level, it reduces waste, farm gate losses, and things like that, and it just adds to incomes. So these are policies that are very positive, and I would wish to see the government remain focused in implementing them. We've seen governments do things and succeed in their initial years and begin to fail down the way. I believe strongly it's not going to happen this time round. And I pray that efforts are done to police these things. Yes, in terms of this gold, a task force has been established. Fair. But we don't just need a task force to implement what is being done. We need another group, another, that is going to, interrogate what is being done, to think the way the people against the system are thinking, like an audit system, to interrogate, because, like we're talking about the foreign exchange, why is there that disparity of a whole 2 cedis between the official rate and the black market rate? It tells you there's something going on there. Let us not be complacent with the fact that the bank rate has dropped to 10 cedis and even the black market rate is 12 cedis. No. We have to repair the situation. We must close that gap, find out what is going wrong, and tackle it. Because if you don't tackle it, it escalates. It blows up. And before you know what's happening, you've lost control. This has been the problem with our economy from time immemorial. When governments do one good thing, and they begin to feel successful, that, they've done a good thing, and they begin to relax, the open market, the economy begins to find ways round the system, like it's done everywhere in the world. So if we do not have other bodies, or the Gold Board itself doesn't have a unit that is seriously perusing the way they're going about things to ensure that all gaps are closed, it will not, we will not be getting the maximum benefit. We will be getting even more than what we are getting now. Otherwise, we tend to become complacent that, yes, we're getting so much more now, so therefore, but that shouldn't be the case. We should be able to get maximum returns from our efforts. Otherwise, we'll be working hard, and instead of getting 100%, we are only getting about 75% and feeling happy that we are getting 100%. Now, there's also, in terms of how the things are going, the second gas plant that has come up. That is also another positive development, because with the additional gas coming in, our information that tomorrow there's a switch over. We're going to be out of power for about 6 hours to switch to gas, which is also a very good development. It is going to reduce our importation of crude to fuel our generation plants, which is going to be a further saving on our foreign exchange. All these things are positive developments that we have to applaud as Ghanaians. I am very happy, that these things are coming up. And another gas plant is actually being, worked upon and delivered. So these are all positive things. And, yesterday, for example, I went to buy, there's a shop I get certain items from. When I went to the shop, the price was not displayed. So when I got to pay for it, I asked the lady, why have you... She said, oh, we are reviewing our prices. The price is coming down. They are actually reviewing the prices in stock in reflection to the exchange rate, because when the exchange was going up, they reviewed their prices upwards. So if the prices are coming down, and the fact of the matter is that it is a natural occurrence, because if you don't reduce your price, somebody else is going to bring in the same item at the current exchange rate and sell it, so you would have to adjust. So it will take time for us to begin to get the full benefit of some of these positive developments in the system. But we should not be complacent. It is where the complacency comes that, you know, under the previous government, yes, in the first few years, there was appeared to be some complacency. And then what happened? It shouldn't happen. You know, we have to keep the government on its toes for our own good. You see, for our own good. There are positive developments. We should encourage them to do more, where even those positive developments are having certain challenges or having certain shortcomings. It is in our interest to draw attention so that they are addressed. But the Go Board, and also, you know, another thing, we have KNUST. How many graduates have come out of KNUST who have done metals? High education in metal work. When I say metal, we're talking about gold. Gold. High level. And some of the people doing gold in Dubai are not better than our graduates from tech. There should be a government policy to incentivize them to add value to gold. Government policy. That way we'll see that a lot of the Go Board's gold coming out, a lot of it is not exported, but a certain percentage of it goes into that market, identified market of professionals processing gold, producing, you know, jewelry and other gold artifacts for export. We are adding value, adding more value and making more money. This is how countries develop. You know, so yes, Go Board is doing well, it's fine, the exchange rate is coming down, but fine. But we should remember there was a time in our country when the dollar was 1-to-1. I think that should be the aim of the government. That should be the aim. Let us work hard. Let us close the loopholes. Let us put politics aside. And let us work, you know, to achieve it. Because at the end of the day, when it works well, and when it happens positively, it benefits all of us. You know, we must improve. And that will set a benchmark. I mean, MPP is looking for flag bearer and all that. It should be a benchmark for whoever wants to come. And this is where, how things are going. You must come with a message to show that you are going to do better than what is there. Then, on the basis of that, we decide who we're going to elect. And when we're going to elect, it's just a matter of counting votes. It's not a matter of going to throw blows. You know? So, I mean, this is how things are going. Things have been positive so far. And we must commend them. It shouldn't get into anybody's head that they are doing well, so they're mentioning names. Or, you know, no. We'll be on their case. The good job must be maintained. There should be even more improvement. And then we should be able to see the results. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, this is lawyer.
Yeah. I thought that you haven't underlined the cardinal principle of your anti-galamsey. 1 gallon.
Oh, what? Every galamsey who is caught, when they catch you, every galamsey 1 gallon, they fetch 1 gallon of the water. Drink it there and then. Drink the 1 gallon.
You got 1 gallon philosophy.
Yes, thank you very much.
This is the people says good morning to your distinguished studio guests, especially iconic Alhaji ABA Fuseni, our Ghanaian Okonko. The primordial of Alhaji and Alhaji, I salute, and to my senior one, Zita. The Gold Board thinks is the masterstroke of GM resetting agenda. I salute the brains behind it. The Kwame Nkrumah Cocoa Board template is the way to go, and I support Mr. London that the template be replicated in other sectors. Thank you for that comment. And of course, we have to conclude the show on that note today. Yes, so on the note of Gold Board, we are concluding the show. But I realized that Neil was talking about Equatorial Guinea. Okay, so when you started talking about the, is it the defense minister? You made my heart skip for a while because the reason Comic with the Pride Junior is not on the show today is because he's in Equatorial Guinea. He's in Equatorial Guinea. So he's told us over and over again that he's worked on a book. The book is ready, and he's going to, the very first introduction of the book will be at what is currently happening at Equatorial Guinea. Currently, there's an African leaders are convening in Malabo for a high-level meeting on integration infrastructure. So that is happening currently. The event is being held under the patronage of President Teodoro Obiang Nguema. And is jointly organized by the African Prosperity Network and Invest Equatorial Guinea in collaboration with the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The book is on reparations. Yes, it's very first book. It's on reparations, history, struggle, politics, and law.
So we wish we see well.
Yes,
and I hope this will be the first of many more books to come.
Yeah.
This time around, I think he's presenting a book to the finance minister in Equatorial Guinea, not the defense minister that you mentioned. Anyway, but
he's on TikTok.
And the other one to Balthazar, he's also
Equatorial Guinea.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, let me say a big thank you to Mr. Philip London. Mr. Philip London is a very popular voice on this show, in case you don't know. Goes back many years. Same with Alhaji Fuseni. Alhaji Fuseni, like I said, is a pioneer when it comes to Alhaji and Alhaji. So it's wonderful to see him whenever he makes time to turn up. Former Member of Parliament for Sanyarugu. Alhaji, thank you, as always. Nice to see you. And of course, it's always a learning experience whenever you walk in. Nino and Hansen Norte. Yes. And if what I'm hearing is right, he'll soon be His Excellency again. Her Excellency again. That's what I am hearing. Yes. But about 8 years ago, that was the time when you handed over. She was the Ghana ambassador to the Czech Republic. Czech Republic High Commissioner.
No, ambassador.
Ambassador, okay. Ambassador to the Czech Republic. Ambassador Zita Saba Benson. Yeah, thank you. Today is the birthday of Henry Kojo Agbai, who is my colleague at Radio Gold. A happy birthday to you, Henry. If you're watching the show, happy birthday to you. We are back same time next week with another edition of the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. Don't forget, we're live on TV, Pan-African Television. We are live on Radio Gold 90.5 FM. We are live on many other affiliate stations across the country. And of course, we are live on our social media handles. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a lovely week. We'll see you next week.
And of freedom, he's the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He's the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people in.
Truly African.
Happy Wednesday to you guys. Welcome to the show. This is